The ZNT wrestling show is not dead. Believe it or not, we've come back. You know, we're better than ever, I think. Tomas, happy birthday, my friend. It's really good to have you here. We gotta put him over real quick because this guy, what a guy, eh? What a guy.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being patient with us. Life has just been life. And we were almost 3 pay-per-views behind with this. And again, please be patient with us. We will be reviewing Forbidden Door. I know that was the last weekend, and I'm sorry you're going to have to wait a few more days on that. But with the combination of having to get this out, and Money in the Bank is today, and Heatwave is tomorrow, we're just trying to gather our bearings and make sure we at least get this out. Because even though it's not current, we have to remind ourselves, too, there's a lot of other very more popular content creators out there other than us that are putting out the reviews like a week so or late. So, you know, we're not here about logistics. We're not here for numbers. We're just here to talk about wrestling. As long as we talk about the show,
exactly,
we are more than happy with that. Happy Money in the Bank. We're going to be talking about Royal Rumble 2006. I love our schedule, and I want to change it for the world.
I'm always like, it's so funny. Like, I'm constantly reminded of how our retros have worked because our first retro review was Royal Rumble 02, and we reviewed that over the summer during the pandemic. And I was like, I know it's not Rumble season. I remember saying that our first retro review. I'm like, I know it's not Rumble season, but this is where I think our starting point should be. And we're at another Rumble. It's our favorite pay-per-view every single year. I wasn't as hyped going into Royal Rumble 2006 as a kid, I remember, just because the field in the Rumble match didn't even really look all that spectacular aside from maybe 3 contenders. But
I will say I was still reeling from Eddie's death.
Yeah,
so I feel like that was very much looming over this Royal Rumble, and
huge factor.
Kind of the start of a very bittersweet storyline that I thought had all the right intentions going in, but as it kept going and going and going, a lot of fans would agree that it kind of spiraled out of control. I still like the outcome that we got from this storyline, but just to say, if we're going to compare this to like the Wyatt 6 right now, WWE definitely learned their lesson on how to properly honor a deceased wrestler without going overboard, because you can debate all day that they went overboard with this. I think in some aspects they did, but in considering what they did tonight, I think the winner of this Royal Rumble was very deserved. And I know that's been a very topic of controversy over the years, but I wouldn't change this Royal Rumble for anything. Was this a good show? Absolutely not.
No, this show is horrible.
Was
bad show.
Very much made by the feel-good moment of the Royal Rumble match. And even the Royal Rumble match itself wasn't that great. Because we are very much smack dab in the middle of WWE has like their 5 or 6 pillars, and they got nobody else. Their mid-card is average to weak to average, and their undercard is absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
Put it blunt enough. Like, the Cruiserweight division is dying. The women's division is being anchored by one storyline. And the mid-card, it's there. I mean, we have a solid feud with Booker T and Chris Benoit. The Intercontinental title picture, it's Flair and Benjamin. It's like they're really at the point where they're just throwing the Intercontinental title on anybody because Vince feels obligated to have the Intercontinental Championship. Remember, back in 2002, they eliminated the Intercontinental Championship. They didn't want this to be a thing anymore. And that was blasphemous. The Intercontinental title should be a thing forever and ever and ever. I know I'm going into a tangent, but the point being, the field and just the talent pool was very, very weak.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. And you got to remember, viewers, this is a Vince McMahon headed creative team. And let's be honest, let's take the rose-colored glasses off. His creative was not all it cracked up to be. Especially when you look at the trajectory of what Hunter has done as the head of creative, because he has built so many stars, not just in the main event, but across the entire roster. Like, the mid-card is as beefy as it's ever been. We'll get into it in Money in the Bank, I'm sure, as well. You mentioned the Wyatt 6 as well. That is how, this is our first review even, like, mentioning the Wyatt 6. That was a brilliant debut. And the 2 segments that Bo Dallas has had, I'm so freaking proud of that man. But, like, that is how you do a tribute angle correctly. And as you mentioned, this is the start of a really, like, I don't want to say tasteless death angle, but awkward. It was, very, very, very off-putting, very awkward. Well, and at least on this show, on this night, it felt right, and it felt good.
WWE was already pushing the envelope with the. I feel like we kind of sped through the segment, but like the Randy Orton putting Undertaker on Eddie Guerrero's limousine, lowrider, and backing it into the SmackDown set. A lot of people found that to be tasteless. I found it random and out of place that they didn't even use that. Here it's it's gonna when we get into No Way Out, it's definitely where it's gonna be like, okay, WWE, reel it back a little. You're going a little too far with this. It's just a little bit. Like, okay, take the foot off the gas pedal just a little. Like there's just some unnecessary things that you're putting into promos just for like that forced heat.
Just for cheap heat.
Giving it away. Yeah, without giving it away. Think back to 2015. Paige and Charlotte Flair feuding for the Divas title.
Yeah.
Paige bringing up David Flair. Like
Reed.
Unnecessary. Reed, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it's unfortunate that both the Flair boys are not with us anymore, but just to
David
up and not.
I think David's still alive.
Is he? I don't think he is.
I'm pretty sure David's still alive, bro. I can fact check it for you, but I know Reed is sadly like prematurely had an OD.
While you look that up, it's just very like it's very unnecessary, tasteless heat. And like I said, we'll be getting into that. But this is the Royal Rumble, and my biggest issue with this show right off the bat, there's too many matches on this card for a Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
Even
6 matches
before the Triple H era. When you have one dedicated match that's going to be at least an hour long, and this is before a Women's Rumble even existed, a 5-match card is what you need for it. You need to focus on the world titles, the Rumble match, and maybe a mid-card title, 2 at max.
Yeah.
But you need to put the whole focus on the Royal Rumble match. And I will say, even though the Royal Rumble match ended up fine enough, especially with the outcome, this Royal Rumble was not focused on the Royal Rumble match. And it did something that WWE only did 1 or 2 more times after this, and I'm not a fan of it, not putting the Rumble match on last. They would do it again in 2013 because that was CM Punk and The Rock. And then they did it in 2023.
Yeah, where the Rumble opened the show.
Angle. Yeah. But with the Bloodline angle, I understood, but I'm not a fan of it. When it's the Royal Rumble, one of the Royal Rumble matches should go on last, whether it's the men or the women.
Yeah.
And I will take that thought process with me to the grave.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were doing it like all throughout the 90s. Like Shawn Michaels and Undertaker went on last in the casket match in San Jose. The Rumble match was second to last. But again,
I'll never agree with that mindset.
Yeah.
And, I'll even give WWE a pass in the future because I get it. Rock beating Punk for the WWE title was a big deal because of the 434-day title reign.
Well, and also The Rock. The Rock himself. Like, I remember that.
Bloodline angle being as hot as it was, and considering the ending to Royal Rumble 2023, I understood why that needed to go on last. But I will never agree with the mindset the Royal Rumble match should always go last. And considering how this Royal Rumble match went, this was the perfect note to end the show on. And considering what went on last, it was blasphemous. I don't care what they did with the aftermath of that match. It was blasphemous. And honestly, if you could have sacrificed that one little stunt they did at the end of the show, it was not needed.
No.
There was absolutely no reason why the show ended on that note.
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure. But this show took place 4 weeks after New Year's Revolution, which we just reviewed, if that, took place in the at what was at the time the brand new American Airlines Arena in lovely Miami, Florida, humid Miami, Florida, home of The Rock, of course. I did do a fact check, by the way, and David Flair is currently 45 years old, Tomas. So
that is crazy. The fact that I have heard 0 things about him.
Yeah, no, because he's been out of the business. He's out of the business. He's not around here calling waiters Nicholas Dickhead like his father is. But anyway, Royal Rumble 2006, January 29th of that year from Miami, as I've mentioned. Perfect segue because you were talking about the waning Cruiserweight division, and this is where you really start to notice it in 2006. We have a Cruiserweight open. You pretty much have any former Cruiserweight champion being thrown into the ring with the defending champion, Kid Kash. Kid Kash had just won this belt at Armageddon from Juventud Guerrera, who is now gone from the company. But here's your lineup, okay? Here's your roll call. Kid Kash defending. The number 1 announcer, Funaki, who we haven't talked about in at least a year. Jamie Noble, who's just returned to the company. Nunzio, Paul London, and then you have to add one more in. Raw's Gregory Helms defecting over to SmackDown just to go after this Cruiserweight title. And as a kid, after just watching that great Battle Royal where Kurt Angle won the World Heavyweight title, which we'll talk about, I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, I wonder who wins this one. Lightning is surely going to strike twice. Once I saw Gregory Helms come out, I'm like, there's no way these guys are going to beat him. Like, absolutely no shot.
Long gone are the days of like personal and, you know, one-on-one feuds between guys like Chavo and Ray, Chavo and London. Even like Kash and Ubi, I felt had some decent heat going into Armageddon. Now Vince's mindset is just throw all the cruiserweights in one match and have them run around and dance around and flip around for our entertainment. Again, you look at the field, Funaki doesn't do anything. Noble just got back. Nunzio doesn't do anything. London is about to form one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But
I think he already is in the tag team with Kendrick.
Is London and Kendrick already a thing? I don't think it is, because they don't go for the tag team titles until after WrestleMania.
Until Judgment Day. I know that's when they win them, but I think that they are a up-and-coming tag team at this point.
They don't have the matching gear yet, that's for sure. They don't have, like, you know, the anonymous mask and they're running down to the crazy music and all that. But you know, London has been very much put on the back burner, even though we have agreed that he's one of the most entertaining and most, you know, charismatic cruiserweights on the division. Kash is a very solid champion, but it's obvious that they have no desire to do anything with him except slap this title on him. And I agree, when Helms came out, he's the guy from Raw. He's, you know, the heel that they're pushing. So, you know, to make things interesting, why would you not put the title on Helms? This was a decent enough match.
I liked it. Yeah, it was fine.
Stuff. It's a lot of springboards, a lot of running to the outside, double suicide dives. Like, you know, it's your usual cruiserweight bits. Not a lot of substance to the match. There's a lot more flash than anything else. But there was this one awesome spot that I need to bring up.
Yeah.
Helms and I think London are on the top rope, and Helms hits this ginormous swinging neck breaker from the top rope, and it is gnarly.
That was great.
Like, there's two things that added to the spot. Number one, Helms' innovation, and London's selling. That dude is not afraid to bump.
We have talked so long about how underrated Paul London was and still is as a worker. I love Paul London. I will always be a huge fan of his. Great selling and a great high flyer as well. Because in my opinion, the highlight of this match was his shooting star press off the top to the outside on all four dudes who were waiting for him out there.
Yeah.
That was such a sick visual. And the fans, like, this is the opening contest, so the crowd in Miami is going to be hyped for this. They chanted, holy shit, deservedly so. You know, like, I would have loved to have seen Paul London take home this championship, but
I will say, though, my only issue with that spot that I just praised is, how is that not the finish?
Oh, the swinging neck breaker?
Crazy. That's a crazy move.
Well, because you got to put Helms' finisher over, and that swinging neck breaker is not his finishing maneuver. So, before we get to that, you have Kid Kash going in there doing some of his stuff, playing defense, basically. He hits the dead level brain buster on Paul London with, you know, there's a lot of really close near falls. There's guys breaking up pins left and right. Kid Kash is knocked out of the ring by his future tag team partner in Jamie Noble. We'll get to the pit bulls in due time. But, Helms tosses Noble outside the ring. Funaki is left all by his lonesome. And inevitably, Helms hits Funaki with his finishing maneuver, the Shining Wizard, not the Vertebreaker. Gregory Helms hits Funaki with the Shining Wizard and pins him to win the Cruiserweight title.
I think the Vertebreaker was banned at this point in the WWE because that is a blasphemous move. I think we had just seen it return when Cody Rhodes hit Logan Paul with one at Crown Jewel, which is crazy.
King of the Ring. King of the Ring.
Crown Jewel isn't until November. I'm sure Cody Rhodes went up to Sugar Shane Helms backstage. Is like, hey man, can I use the Vertebreaker? And Shane was like, fuck yeah, you can use the Vertebreaker.
It's one of my favorite moves in wrestling, and probably because Helms wants to live vicariously through Cody now, because he was never allowed to use the Vertebreaker at this point, especially during this, what's going to be a legendary title reign that nobody ever talks about. Because get used to us saying Gregory Helms is the Cruiserweight champion. That's not going to change for a long time. A long time.
It sucks because to really bury the lead on this, he was a great champion, and because this title kind of became synonymous with Helms. But his title reign is only so long because Vince just refused to book him in title matches. He's going to get, like 6 months down the line, like in the fall, he's going to get into a very personal feud with Matt Hardy. That Cruiserweight title's not going to be on the line once.
Didn't Matt Hardy win the Cruiserweight title? Like, couldn't Matt Hardy have challenged for it?
Yeah.
Matt Hardy's a former champion, though, is what I'm saying. Couldn't those matches have been for the belt?
Yeah, exactly. It's like this was clearly a North Carolina feud. We will get to that when we get to that. But like I said,
Yeah.
it's like Vince liked Helms and he liked the work he was putting in, but that cruiserweight title became a fucking prop, which
Yeah.
he would not defend at months at a time.
Poor Kid Kash, by the way. Kid Kash only held this belt for a month. Loses it to Gregory Helms here. Helms doesn't lose it until next year. Do you think WWE has figured out how difficult Kid Kash is as a person to work with?
Yes, I will agree with that, but at the same time, I don't think WWE realized what they had in this guy. This guy is
Right.
fucking good.
Yeah,
He's
bingo.
a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, Kid Kash, such a great worker. I thought it was such a big deal to see him defect over from TNA because I thought that, like, back then TNA was going to be legit competition for WWE. But yeah, Kid Kash was the only real big one that I can remember coming from over there to the Fed. Gregory Helms wins. This match was all right. I'm gonna give it 2 3/4 stars, maybe even 3 if I'm being generous. It was fun.
So yes, this was a decent enough match. I am also going to give it 2 3/4 stars. It was, it was actually a nice surprise to see Helms defect and win this title. It kind of kept things a little exciting, but it was your run-of-the-mill cruiserweight stuff. And get ready to look at fields like this because Vince kind of just like at a drop of a dime stopped caring about the cruiserweight division. Not to say it hadn't been on a slow decline in the past year or so, but he basically gave up. He was like, you know what? Fuck it. These guys are going to fight in multi-man matches every SmackDown pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't a knock on Gregory Helms at all as a talent because he is great and he was doing really well with this new character shift. And he would go on to have some pretty underrated matches throughout the year 2006, and we'll be talking about all of those as we go through this retro. Yeah, definitely a very different version of this guy as opposed to his Hurricane run. Like, could you imagine if Hurricane had held this belt for a year? Like, it probably wouldn't have worked as well. Couldn't have worked as well because Hurricane was a super over babyface. But Helms celebrates with the championship. Lightning strikes twice. The Raw guy comes over and wins a SmackDown title, and he's a SmackDown guy from this point forward. So now we cut backstage. This is where things can get a little bit uncomfortable for some people. You see, this is like these are the series of segments where you see the superstars drawing their numbers for the Royal Rumble. Vince McMahon is,
by the way, a staple. We see this all the time at Royal Rumbles, but
yes,
it's very hard to focus on these segments when Vince McMahon's little red rocket is out the entire time. There's a South Park reference for you.
yeah, it's a little bit awkward. He shoos Teddy Long out of the dressing room because he says, "I got this. I can handle the drawing of the numbers. Take the night off." At least he's letting his employees take the night off, but that's because he can be alone in this room with the trio of Vince's devils: Tori, Candice, and Victoria. Not counting Tori's actual shoot dog, Chloe. Who Tori actually brought Chloe on the road. I actually did a little bit of research into this because I was like, I wonder, was Chloe actually Tori's shoot dog or was Chloe another Fifi? Turns out Chloe was actually Tori's furry companion. So that's awesome.
Chloe Gate isn't real.
Pardon?
Chloe Gate isn't real.
No, Chloe Gate is not. Chloe Gate is not real.
Fifi Gate is real.
Yes, Fifi Gate is still very real, and I'm still convinced that Fifi was not a real dog.
Dupree, if you are watching this, which I know you are not, if you show up to a WrestleCon, I am going to ask you. I will ask you. I will finally get down to I will get to the bottom of this if it's the last thing that I do. Was Fifi Gate real? He's the only one that can answer that question at this point.
Yeah. I hope he shows up to Las Vegas. But Vince flirts with the ladies, very uncomfortable. If you look at this in 2024 retrospective, the first man to go in and pick a number is Randall Keith Orton, fresh off of his feud with The Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell.
Also, most of these wrestlers are not innocent too in this. They are just ogling over these girls every segment, and it's like, can I just see you fuckers draw your numbers and let's just get on with it?
Yeah. Randy Orton asks for some good luck from Candice Michelle and her magic wand. And it turns out, and you'll see later in the Rumble match, that this magic actually works. Because Randy Orton draws his number, and he's very happy with it. I'm convinced that Candice Michelle's wand is actually making her a wizard gimmick. At this point, yeah.
Well, if they had the same person that wrote the games, we actually could have gotten something cool like that. But alas, it's just a prop. And there was something else. Oh, yeah. Another thing I want to say about these segments that made them very awkward. The innuendos are very childish. Like, you and me are a fan of comedy movies, right? Innuendos, when done correctly, can be very clever and they can be very funny. But this is like juvenile 13, 14-year-old innuendo comedy.
You don't say.
Like, oh, hold my balls. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I think Triple H says that later on in the show.
Yeah,
like,
no. He actually says it in this segment because Randy Orton draws his number, and then Hunter walks into the room. They have a little bit of a stare down. Evolution reunited. This is the World Heavyweight title match from last year's Royal Rumble. Very forgettable world title match. Hunter looks at Randy and he's like, excuse me. Doesn't even give him a peace of mind. He needs to get in and draw his number. And then he looks.
I do appreciate the heat is still there a little from that feud.
Little bit, yeah. Hunter looks, but they're both heels at this point, too. So it's not really like.
That's just Triple H being consistent, which, as we know as a booker, he loves consistency. What a concept. Consistency.
Right? Yep, there you go. Hunter, to your point, looks at Candace. He opens up the number and he's like, would you hold my ball? Hunter, your wife is pregnant. Bro, your wife is about to give birth in 6 months. Bro,
again,
get a grip.
We're about to get into this very, very, very awful era. And I mean from like 2006 to like 2010, where WWE still tries to be quote unquote edgy, but it just comes off as stupid, juvenile, middle school level, pathetic excuse of comedy. You're going to see innuendos like this all over the place. It's going to be eye-rolling. It's going to be cringy. And it's just like, he's trying to recapture that magic from the Attitude Era that was just like, it's not able to be recaptured. It's just pathetic at this point, their attempt at comedy.
So you're telling me that you didn't like all the juvenile humor that DX would have later on in 2006?
For the most part, no.
Oh, really? Okay. No. Okay, yeah, no, fair enough. As a kid, I remember really liking what DX was doing, and I liked seeing DX on my screen, but...
We were like 13, 14 years old. It was geared towards us. But I'm sure if we were our age watching that shit, we would be cringing out of our eyes.
Yeah, DX wasn't... Not to bury the lead too much, but this 2006 version of DX that we're going to get was not as funny as the one we got in the 90s, so... Hunter opens up his number, he looks at Randy and he says, read him and weep, and then he looks at the number and the look on his face explains it all. A picture says 1,000 words. Hunter looks at it and is stunned by the number that he has, and then Randy is like, well, some guys just don't have the best luck in the world. I'll see you out there. Or, maybe not. So, we will see what numbers they get. The three, so it's... Oh, yeah, this segment I thought was good for the Hunter-Orton interaction, but very uncomfortable otherwise.
Again, you could have trimmed all of that back, and it would have been a perfectly fine segment. Like, you let Triple H book a segment like that, it would have been all business, no bullshit.
Yeah.
Which it's crazy because he has yet to do a Tumblr segment at the Royal Rumble because Triple H's pay-per-views, they are very little on the in-ring backstage segment, and it's all just, hey, I got 5 matches on this card. I want to give the fans their money's worth. I don't want them to stay here all night. Boom, let's get to fucking action. And if he does have an in-ring segment, it has substance. Not counting the Waller effect with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins at Elimination Chamber, but I digress.
Yeah, well, I remember Hunter would have his Rumble participants pick numbers off of a whiteboard or something, and those segments would just be on Twitter. They wouldn't be actually on the pay-per-view, but we would actually have to pay attention to social media to see what numbers they drew, or think they drew, or their reactions to the numbers. But, oh boy. Yeah, let's talk about some crazy women's wrestling angles, Tomas. Here we are.
Oh boy. Remember at New Year's Revolution when I praised this angle so much, and I actually appreciated Vince putting some long-term booking into his women's storylines for once?
I do remember that.
Sometimes you hit very awkward roadblocks. Not roadblocks, kind of like bumps in the road during this long-term storytelling, and it doesn't go off the way it should. I could rebook this match in a million ways, but considering this is a Big Four pay-per-view, and this is what we got, it's kind of pathetic. It is Mickie James versus Ashley Massaro with Trish Stratus, the women's champion, as your special guest referee. How did this come about? Basically, Massaro and Stratus have been homies over the year, and Mickie James isn't like that. She's very jealous, so she wants to get her hands on Ashley Massaro, and Trish Stratus is there basically to be put in that awkward rock in a hard place. Like, who do I pick? my protege who is kind of low-key stalking me, or my best friend. So that's all this match really is, and this match was not it. This match was not it.
Wasn't it? So Trish Stratus, by the way, is the special guest referee. We see her getting ready for the match backstage as if she's actually wrestling. Like, she's hopping around, like, doing her thing, like, exercising. And I'm like, okay, yeah, the referees have got to stay fit, too. Mickie James walks up to Trish. And, yeah, this is, like, really the point of no return here for this stalker angle. Trish's music hits, and then Mickie stops Trish, and she says that she loves her. And the crowd is very into Mickie James at this point in 2006 because they see the edginess of the angle. But Trish was stunned. She goes out to the ring. Mickie James soon joins her. Ashley Massaro joins the ring as her opponent. And, like, bless Ashley's heart. Rest in peace. I know that she wanted to learn all she could about the business, but I feel like she was... It wasn't her fault.
An uphill battle in this match.
Yeah, very, very uphill battle. But...
you know how I said I would rebook this angle in a different way? You could have swapped the players in this. You could have did Ashley versus Trish Stratus for the women's title with Mickie James as a special guest referee. And she could have been very conflicted, like, I hate Ashley Massaro. I want to make sure she doesn't win this title. But Trish Stratus could be like, the baby face that she is, like, no, what are you doing? Like, call it right down the middle. But James wants to screw over Massaro and keep the title on Trish Stratus. This could have been a lot meatier than it actually was, but it's just like, why? Why are Mickie James and Ashley fighting on pay-per-view with Trish Stratus as the special guest referee? None of this, like, it was not executed well at all.
Yeah, the story of this match was basically Mickie on offense, always, like, looking for Trish's approval, and Trish wasn't really giving it to her. Trish was no nonsense in this match. She was, like, out there to do her job as an official. She was there to call the match down the middle, even though she was reluctant to award the match to Mickie James. Ashley, I mean, again, like, this match just wasn't doing it for me. Like, the offense on both sides, I didn't think was very, like,
it was very awkward, very clunky, very botchy. I always have advocated that the women should get more time, especially in this era. But 8 minutes was way too long for this match.
Way too long.
A lot of clunky spots. They were not connecting on anything. The crowd was not into this. And there were no stakes in this match. Like I said, if this was a friendly Stratus versus Massaro title match with Mickie James being that meddling referee, this could have been very entertaining. And it could have kept your attention more. But knowing that nothing was going to come out of this match, it just made you question, why is this on pay-per-view?
This could have very easily been done on Raw. It probably would have been a lot more effective on an episode of free TV. Mickie James eventually hits a powerbomb, pulls on tights for leverage. Trish counts 1. Trish counts 2. She pauses because she doesn't want to count 3 for her stalker. She eventually does, out of fairness, and the crazy stalker beats Ashley in 8 minutes. This match gets half a star. Bad match.
Or I just realized this. Why wasn't this a #1 contenders match? Because that's what we're getting at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So the reluctantness from Trish Stratus could have made a lot more sense going 1, 2. Oh, fuck, do I really got to defend my title against this girl again? 3. Yeah, looks like I do.
That would have added an extra layer to it, wouldn't it? It would have actually made a lot more sense for Trish to count the pin for Mickie.
It was kind of like, when Foley reluctantly counted the 3 for Triple H and Nash and Hell in a Cell? Could have been like that. Like, I hate this guy with a burning passion, but I got to do my job as the ref. Like, there was no drama, no stakes, no reason for me to care.
Yeah.
Mickie James beat Ashley Massaro in this match.
I thought they did an all right job with, like, selling the narrative of Mickie trying to look for Trish's approval and constantly seeking Trish's approval. She is hugging Trish profusely at the end of the match, and Trish is having none of it. Yeah, half a star. Pains me to say it about these two because I respect both of them, but yeah, this just wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, it was like they were trying to base the match around morals and ethics, but there was no heat behind the morals and ethics. So
yeah,
it just didn't make any sense.
Ashley, even though she may not have been the greatest in-ring worker, you can tell that her effort was there and that she was certainly over with the crowd and adored by her friends, her family, and her fans. So bless her soul.
100%.
Bless her soul.
Unfortunately, it does not get any better.
Oh boy. Well, first we have another Tumblr segment. So Vince is showing, they're like exchanging tattoos, you know, and like they're showing off tattoos with each other before the Big Show comes in.
Basically, an excuse for the ladies to pull their pants down and Victoria to show her tramp stamp and Candice Michelle to put her leg on the table. And it's just like, and then what happens after that is just fucking weird.
Yeah, Big Show comes in and he's talking about, oh, you're showing off tattoos? I got a couple of my own. And then Vince is like, no, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see your tattoos.
Big Show is that friend you want to take with the club, take to the club with you. Because if a guy is like creeping on a girl, he can just step in and is like, oh man, yeah, you like asses? I'll show you my ass right now. Like, he's the kind of friend you want to take along with you to the bars.
Big Show just seems like the most innocent dad out there, like coming in there, you know, and I love the Big Show. Who doesn't? So he goes in there, he can't put his hand inside the tumbler because his hand is way too damn big. So one of the girls reaches in, gives him a number, he opens it up, and he's like, all right, yeah, I can deal with this. You would think he would come out around the middle of the pack, but with that reaction, you would think he would come out like around 15 or so. But yeah, we'll get to that. He should have been a lot more pissed off. Should have been a lot more pissed off.
You can figure out what number they're going to be based off the reaction. If it's a good reaction, it's past 15. If it's a bad reaction, it's before 15.
Yeah.
If they're absolutely stunned, it's probably the first 5.
Yeah, basically. So after this, speaking of, is when Rey Mysterio comes in and he draws his number. And you know what doesn't make sense about this segment? Weren't Big Show and Rey Mysterio at each other's throats over the past couple months in brand warfare? Didn't they just
brand warfare? That's over. So Big Show's nice again.
Yeah, didn't they just have a heated tag team contest at Armageddon? Wasn't Big Show trying to chokeslam Rey out of his shoes? And now he's here saying, "Listen, I think it's a really nice thing what you're doing for Eddie, but it's every man for himself." He's being respectful to Rey now.
I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt because, like we said, in December, I feel like WWE was really scrambling creative to replace whatever plans they had to do with Eddie. So props to Big Show and Kane for stepping in to play the token heels when they needed them to be. So all the credit in the world for that. So it was just like, it was a very awkward, inconsistent thing. I would very much like to say I enjoyed the segment, but when you can't look at Vince the same way. So when Vince is trying to be all fatherly to Rey and be like, oh, Eddie's looking down there, he's going to give you love, you just want to say, oh, shut the fuck up, Vince.
Shut your ass.
The fuck up.
Yeah.
So Rey picks his number, and he's saying like, oh, I'm hoping Eddie gives me some magic. And I do love this moment because it's very tender. It's very candid.
Yes.
And Rey, you can tell he's not acting in this segment because he grabs his number, he opens it, he looks at the number, he shakes his head and just goes, Eddie, you got me. And it's just like, oh, man, it's like you knew.
You pulled one over on me this time. Like Eddie pulled a prank on his friend from beyond the grave. Like it was such a
tender moment.
Yeah, it was a great moment in a segment that is very troubling when you think about it. But getting to what I thought you were mentioning earlier before the Tumblr segment. Oh boy. Remember when I said when JBL pinned Matt Hardy, I'm sure he's going to do something really important on this pay-per-view. He is in one-on-one action against the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman.
If I was JBL, I would be furious that I wasn't put in the Royal Rumble match and I was put in this match instead.
Yeah.
I'm glad you paid $40 for this match.
No. Remember when JBL was the WWE champion at last year's Royal Rumble in a really fun triple threat match? Those were good times. Good times to be Bradshaw.
Is an important aspect of this match to bring up. I guess Vince was done laughing at Jillian Hall because a couple of weeks prior to the Royal Rumble, so basically the angle is JBL scared of the Boogeyman. Big fucking whoop. It's what all of Boogeyman's opponents are going to be doing with him. And considering Boogeyman is being booked against former world champions, good for him. Like I said, I have nothing but good things to say about the Boogeyman. But so basically, JBL has been running away from Boogeyman, and he's been putting Jillian Hall in harm's way. On a segment on SmackDown, Boogeyman grabs Jillian's face and just, with his teeth, pulls off that mole or growth on her face, whatever the fuck that thing was, and eats it. And this was so stupid because you look at the backside of that thing, and it just looks like a smooth piece of plastic. You can tell it's a prosthetic. There's no, and not to be gross, but there's no juice. There's no scar on Jillian's face. There's no skin ripped off. There's no blood. Just they glued that thing onto her face, and it's
so stupid, so dumb. Why would you do this?
Taz and Michael Cole had to sell this shit like crazy, and I will never forget Taz's call He just plucked that thing off of her face and ate it like it was a damn strawberry.
Ate it like it was a big old sugar cookie that my brother likes to make. Ridiculous. So in this context, like, imagine if that growth on Jillian's face was portrayed as cancer. So does this mean that Boogeyman cures cancer in kayfabe?
He can eat cancerous growths.
He can eat cancerous growths, and he can cure your cancer, because Jillian Hall was perfectly fine after this.
I was just going to say, her face looks beautiful. It's smooth. There's no scars or blood or bandages.
Nothing.
They sold this by saying, like, well,
nothing.
Boogeyman ate a part of Jillian Hall's face. She's in the hospital now. So she is not here for this matchup. It's just so stupid.
Yeah. So Boogeyman, he comes out and he makes his really sick entrance. I'll give him credit for that. That was a really awesome entrance with a great theme song to boot. And also
fog coming out of his scepter. There's fog coming all over the stage. He bashes a clock on his head and the fireworks go up. He's juking and gyrating. Like I said, Boogeyman put 100% effort into this gimmick.
He's crawling out of the bottomless pit, and he's billed from the bottomless pit by ring announcer Tony Chimmel. Where do you think the bottomless pit is?
It's probably a few miles west of Parts Unknown.
You think? You think?
Yeah.
I always interpreted that as, I was so stupid as a kid. I was like, oh, the bottomless pit. That must mean the Grand Canyon. I mean, he must be from Arizona.
Or think about it this way. Boogeyman was falling down the bottomless pit. He was able to cling onto the wall, and then he dug himself a little hole in the side of the wall, and that's where he lives.
So,
and
like,
he leaves, he has to...
So he escaped to the bottomless pit like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption is what you're telling me.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that makes sense.
To quote Deadpool, you ever see 127 hours? Well, spoiler alert.
No, Boogeyman does not cut off any of his hands or his limbs, nothing like that. Boogeyman also, it should be noted that it's 10:28 p.m. in Miami at this point, so very minimal pay-per-view time left to really sell this match up here. So that's probably why they had to take this match home early. JBL, literally, this is the match. Boogeyman stalks Jillian for a little bit. He's on top of Jillian. He spits one of those Nightcrawlers in her mouth, shoot Nightcrawlers, and Jillian runs away. Bell rings. JBL is dominating for like 98% of this match. Boogeyman then
the fuck out of Boogeyman, by the way.
Yeah, JBL is then hit with a really shitty looking pump handle slam.
It's not shitty.
Yeah, no, it's a 2-minute match on pay-per-view.
Like, come on, they should have called that move like the Boogie Bomb or something like that.
So. Yeah, it's really, really dumb that a former WWE champion lost to just one really bad move from the Boogeyman. JBL literally took the entire match except for that move. Like, dumb. 0 stars. Zero stars.
I get it to a degree. Like, they're trying to put Boogeyman over as this unstoppable force. I mean, look at him. When I first, I'll tell you a story. Remember when Boogeyman first debuted in that backstage segment?
Yeah.
I was terrified of him. And I remember screaming, what does this man want? Does he want a world title shot? Give it to him. Because he's terrifying.
Yeah. Never goes after any world titles, but he beat a former world champion. That should put him in line for a world title shot at the next pay-per-view, shouldn't it?
You know what? If they would have taken the gimmick a little more seriously and less as a comedy act, why not?
Yeah.
Think about all the crazy characters that challenged for world titles back in the day. Your Kamalas and your, Undertakers and your, people like that, like the Visceras. Like, why not have a crazy, kooky fantasy character? It's professional wrestling. When people don't know about professional wrestling, they think of gimmicks. They want to see, people have always said to me in the past, like, oh, is a giant molten lava monster going to fight, some dude like Popeye the Sailor Man or something like that? It's like, why not put a crazy, kooky gimmick in a main event level for one pay-per-view?
Yeah, no,
like all the crazy characters the Undertaker fought.
Kamala, Kama Mustafa. I'm trying to think. Like, did he ever have a match with Papa Shango? Like, I'm not trying to name all of the Charles Wright gimmicks that he's ever had, but that's basically who came to mind. Bad match, 0 stars, didn't need to be on pay-per-view. Poor JBL had to deal with this. Poor Jillian had to deal with this. And credit to Boogeyman for being dedicated, and this was Marty Wright's actual dream. I mean, I'm sure he would have much rather been in the Rumble match, so he could have been one of 30 participants, but this was not good. Not good. Waste of time.
9 years later, he's going to have a pretty epic stare down with Bray Wyatt in the 2015 Rumble. I will say that was pretty sick.
The Eater of Worlds versus the Eater of Worms. Never forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so upset we never got that match one-on-one.
Well, you sort of did. Bray Wyatt just chucked his ass over the top rope. But, yeah. Bad match. I don't know what else you want me to say about it, viewers. Yeah. I really don't know.
Speaking of shucking people over the top rope, it is now time for your 30-man Royal Rumble match.
And wait. We have one more Tumblr segment. Yeah, it's very important.
Oh, it's very pointless.
Well, I mean, Vince McMahon is in there again flirting with the girls. Mama Benjamin walks into the Tumblr room, and she says, "Last time I saw you, your pants were around your ankles, boy." And I'm like, shit. Mama Benjamin was awesome. I will take no Mama Benjamin slander on this channel. Shelton then comes in. He draws his number. He's very happy with it. And he also says that he's going to make Vince McMahon's night when he chucks Shawn Michaels out of the Royal Rumble. But then Melina comes in, and she basically says one of my boys is going to chuck Shawn Michaels out. She starts flirting with Shelton for a little bit, and Mama Benjamin is having none of this, by the way. She does not want Shelton around Melina. And then he's like, but Mama.
You know what they say, Mama does know best.
Yeah.
And Mama knew best to keep Shelton away from Melina.
Yeah, otherwise Shelton would have probably written an autobiography and written about it at some point. But
yeah. Let me say this now. I thought this was a very interesting aspect of the Rumble that was never truly capitalized on.
No.
Why not? Why did Vince McMahon not put a bounty on Shawn Michaels' head?
1999 style? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Vince could have said, like, hey, you guys want a favor? You want a future world title shot? You want 6 months off paid vacation? Get rid of Shawn Michaels. The first person that get rid of Shawn Michaels gets X.
Yeah.
Very easy storyline to book.
Better yet.
Pointless entrance in the Rumble there were. Could have given them something to do.
How about give Shawn Michaels the number 1 entrant and make it even more, like, insurmountable for him to overcome all the odds? Yeah. But, I mean, he already did that 11 years ago, so it's not like that was going to do anything. So, Vince, Mercury and Nitro draw their numbers, they shrug it off, and then Vince uncomfortably sits next to all the devils on a couch, and he's like, let's watch the Rumble together, And I was sitting there, innocent little boy, and I'm like, let's watch the Royal Rumble. Let's do it. It's all.
I love nothing more than gathering around with my pals to watch a wrestling pay-per-view on a couch.
Not like that. Not like that. Not like that.
Not like this. It's your 30-man Royal Rumble match. And like I said, the field is not impressive whatsoever. I feel like they went into this really bad string of Royal Rumble matches where you have your 5 key players and everybody else is just fodder.
So Lillian Garcia is your ring announcer on this evening for the Rumble. Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler are on commentary. Lillian Garcia starts going into the rules. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I misheard you, but what I meant to say was Cole and Lawler. This is a little preview of what's going to become the permanent Monday Night Raw announce team for years to come. So
for the next decade, at least.
Enjoy what we have right now for the next 2 years. Enjoy Cole and Taz. Enjoy Lawler and JR. Spoiler alert, JR come back to the company. The Joey Styles thing is not going to work out for much longer.
Yeah.
But enjoy the classic duos for a couple more years.
Yeah.
It's going to get really bad 2008 going forward.
It sure is, isn't it? So, like I was saying, Lillian Garcia starts going into the rules, but she is cut off by some brand new music that we have yet to talk about. Out pop the Spirit Squad. The Spirit Squad was a group of 5 male cheerleaders. Like, this was, again, another Vince McMahon gimmick in a time where he felt like everybody who came in needed a gimmick. These were 5 dudes who came in, and they, that's their gimmick. They're male cheerleaders. So they go in there, and they recite... Go ahead.
Before we go into that, these were 5 guys plucked from OVW. Very talented, very charismatic, very athletic.
Yeah.
And 2 very important people to bring up here are Kenny, who would end up being Kenny Dykstra, who is now a producer for WWE, and Nikki, who is Nick Nemeth, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler.
Yep.
So yeah, there you go.
So Dolph Ziggler, we were talking briefly about him when Chavo Guerrero was Kerwin White, because Nick Nemeth was his caddy. And now here he is as a cheerleader. And we won't get to the greatness of what Dolph Ziggler was until about 2009, I would think. But
he makes his debut in 2008, but they really don't start using him until 09. So
yeah,
when Nick Nemeth said he's a veteran of the business, yeah, he's been in WWE.
He meant it
since 2005.
I know what I've said about Dolph Ziggler in the past about how he's a Shawn Michaels wannabe, but I can't deny his longevity and his talent as a worker. But
he has a pretty solid super kick, though.
He does have a solid super kick. It's not as good as Shawn, though. The Spirit Squad get in there and they recite a cheer that I dare you to repeat.
No, because I don't remember it.
The Rumble. 30 guys in all. The Rumble. 29 will fall. Don't ask me how I knew that.
No, it's okay. But I'm just sitting here thinking, I don't get the point of this gimmick. Again, all 5 guys, very charismatic, very energetic, very athletic. The gimmick does not fit into how heavily involved they're going to be on TV for the next 6 months. Like, oh my God.
Good Lord.
Loved all 5 of these guys. They are going to be heavily featured from now until like SummerSlam.
Yeah. Well, even after SummerSlam, I would argue that they're prominent through the entire calendar year of 2006. Like, it's crazy how often they're on pay-per-view. They were World Tag Team Champions for a while.
Yeah, they're going to be featured. They're featured here. They're going to get featured at WrestleMania. They're going to get featured at Backlash, Vengeance, SummerSlam. Like, holy shit, what did these guys do to get on Vince's good side? Because
they main evented Vengeance. Vengeance. Like, can you believe that?
It's crazy. We talk about Nikki and Kenny, who end up being Dolph Ziggler and Kenny Dykstra. The other 3, Mitch and Mickie and
Johnny.
Johnny. Thank you. We might as well call him Scrappy Doo because he's that pointless. Like,
might as well.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I thought Mitch was the leader for some reason. It ends up being Kenny. But we're spending way too much time talking about the Spirit Squad. We're going to have many more opportunities to talk about these guys. So
yes,
we don't know what the fuck that was. It was crazy. Vince has a hard-on for gimmicks. But we figure out why Triple H was so distressed when he picked out his number. He's number 1. And I remember laughing so hard as a kid because I hated Triple H.
Yeah, I'm sure Isaac.
This motherfucker's.
I'm sure Isaac was thrilled. I'm sure he was absolutely thrilled that he got to see Hunter wrestle for 60 minutes.
If he was with me when I watched this pay-per-view, I'm sure he would have. But number 2, we find out the little prank that Eddie Guerrero pulled because Rey Mysterio is number 2. And get ready for a legendary run. If my little, 12-year-old self could realize what I was in store for, it is crazy. And the fact that this is the first time we're getting Triple H versus Rey Mysterio is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Number 3 is the real winner of the Royal Rumble,
Simon Dean machine. Yeah, no, honestly, I mean, you buried the lead right there. So Triple H and Rey wrestle around for a second. The crowd is very emotional for Rey. I'll never forget Rey Mysterio's entrance because he drives out in Eddie's lowrider. He puts one of those Eddie t-shirts that I had actually bought when I was a kid on the windshield, and that lowrider disappears once the Rumble begins. I don't know where the fuck it went, but Triple H and Rey wrestle for a little bit. Like you said, Simon Dean makes his way out in the Ric Flair spot at number 3. And honestly, how could you not pick Simon Dean, honestly, at this point? Yeah. Because he's out at number 3. He's out there with the Dean machine. He's like promoting workout and workout. The
Dean machine was so over. No, it's crazy. I love the Dean machine because Simon Dean's gimmick is he's a fitness instructor. He likes to push his shitty protein powder on it, his shitty nutrient supplements. But if he's supposed to be promoting working out and being active, why the fuck is he riding a Segway to the ring?
Why the fuck not?
Lazy.
Why the fuck not? I guess this was ahead of its time because we didn't get the fucking Paul Blart movie until like 2009, I think. Yeah. That was my first introduction to what a Segway was, and I was like, that's really cool. I kind of want one of those. Thank you, Simon Dean.
I am channeling my inner Deadpool, and I want what's it called? A
Zamboni?
No, not a Zamboni. Like that little bike that he rides. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I forgot it.
You're about to be killed by a Zamboni. Anyway,
you know what I'm talking about, right? Those little Vespo. I want
yeah. No, that's it.
Some people dream of owning a Harley. I want to own a Vespo. That's my dream. Can you tell I'm getting old?
As usual, this podcast has gone off the rails. Off the rails, indeed. So, Simon Dean.
Can you tell I'm getting older?
Yes.
It's already starting to hit me.
Happy birthday, my friend. Simon Dean goes in there, starts attacking Rey Mysterio. He chucks Rey right out of the ring, and Rey's eliminated. His dream is completely over. And then it's Triple H and Simon Dean for the rest of the Rumble, right? You know, that's it. Yeah.
Simon Dean's the real feel-good story. Just kidding. 45 seconds in, Simon Dean wants to make an alliance with Triple H, which Triple H is like, fuck you, I don't need you to win this Rumble. Chucks Dean out of the ring. My dreams are crushed. Number 4 is Psychosis. He makes his way to the ring. This is like one of 2 eliminations Rey Mysterio is going to have in this match. Him and Rey wrestle. It's actually kind of impressive and clunky at the same time how Rey's able to head scissors Psychosis. But Psychosis, his gut hits the top rope.
It was gnarly, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he has to awkwardly eliminate himself. And the only reason why I put so much emphasis on this is that after in so many video packages when they feature Rey's Rumble performance, they always show Psychosis' elimination. And I had that embedded in my mind, how he basically eliminated himself because he didn't throw himself over the top rope. He just collided with the top rope gut first, and then he just threw himself out.
Yeah, this is also, Rey eliminates Psychosis, his longtime rival. This is where I started to notice how much I missed Jim Ross on commentary for the Royal Rumble as a kid, because Michael Cole, bless his heart, I love him, but he had a long ways to grow from here. He says something along the lines of, when Simon Dean is eliminated, so Simon Dean is out, so Simon Dean will not be headlining WrestleMania. Way to bury the lead. What if Simon Dean wins the World Heavyweight title at No Way Out, huh? What if he does that?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Dean easily could have won that Battle Royal for the world title.
He could have.
Like Vince said, anyone can win a Battle Royal. Stevie Richards could win a Battle Royal when he'd be your World Heavyweight
Exactly. On TV. So they're burying the lead here.
He fucking hated that guy.
So, in any case, this first third of the Rumble I thought was booked pretty well, because this is a Triple H This Is Your Life segment over the past year or so, because number 5 is Ric Flair. I know we talked a little bit about him earlier. Ric Flair is the Intercontinental Champion still at this point. Does not walk out with the title for whatever reason. Flair immediately goes after Hunter. He grabs him by the dick, and he's doing the iron claw on his balls. And I'm like, my God. Yeah, he's just crushing the man's balls right here. That's what it is. That's what it is. So Ric Flair and Hunter are working together again. Flair is looking at the clock. He's dominating Hunter, and he's thrown out. The Intercontinental Champion is gone almost immediately.
This is one of the issues I have with this Rumble. A lot of key players, I feel, were eliminated very soon. And I don't like the Royal Rumble when the brain starts building up with other competitors. But yeah, this first third of the Rumble, it's very much Triple H and Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, more Hunter and Rey in the ring. The clock ticks down. And like I said, Triple H, This Is Your Life segment. Hunter had that feud with Flair in the fall of 2005. Now we get his New Year's Revolution 2006 opponent in the Big Show at number 6. And I have a fucking bone to pick with this. Because remember that segment that we literally just talked about? Big Show did not mind his number at all. Big Show has to last a long time. At the heaviest he's ever been. He should be fucking pissed. He should be
he's
mad.
Also, again, over 500 pounds, and he's a giant. You would think a giant would have a lot of confidence going into a Royal Rumble. I mean, he is the unofficial winner of the 2000 Royal Rumble. So
yes, he is.
He is.
He is, yeah. He was never eliminated from the 2000 Royal Rumble. Nope. But in that case, Rey Mysterio is given a big headbutt by Big Show. Big Show does the chops on Triple H, and Triple H's selling was so funny because he takes a chop and then he falls forward, and Big Show just stands there and catches him. And Hunter's just sleeping on Big Show's chest, and I'm like, that's nice.
Triple H's selling is great, but also you got to suspend your disbelief a little in these Royal Rumble matches. What stopping Big Show from just lifting everyone over his head and throwing them over the top rope?
Oh, he wants to inflict some punishment, obviously.
Well, that's stupid of him.
It is. It's very dumb. Yeah, there were points many times where he had Hunter up in a press slam position. He could have very easily chucked him over the top rope, but no.
Yeah, and it's as a kid, I always thought that, what's stopping a guy like the Big Show from just standing in the middle of the ring and every single guy, barring a couple others, come in the ring and he's just come here, you're out. What's stopping him? Again, you got to suspend your disbelief in some of these Royal Rumble matches. Number 7.
Oh.
This is how thin the roster pool is when Jonathan Coachman is promised a Royal Rumble spot. I have said this many times, and it bears repeating. Jonathan Coachman was actually a very good character. He was a great heel.
Yes, he
Why
was.
he never a mouthpiece for somebody? The fact that he was relegated to being an in-ring competitor himself, missed opportunity. You find an up-and-coming heel that doesn't have the best mic skills, slap Jonathan Coachman as his mouthpiece, it would have been gold. It would have been money.
Yeah, no, what about well, later on in the year, we're going to get the MVP debuting on SmackDown. Honestly, MVP and the Coach, that's a match made in heaven, I think. Coach is his manager. Like, you know, I know MVP is a good talker and all, and he probably didn't need a mouthpiece, but him and Coach together, I thought would have been a great dream team. So
yeah, like look back in 2004. I said it myself. Jonathan Coachman should have been Garrison Cade's mouthpiece because Cade could have cut a promo to save his life, but Cade was Coachman's heavy. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, bless Lance Cade's heart, but I mean, it's yeah,
like Coach was severely miscast in his roles in WWE when the potential was there. He had good mic skills. He could get heat. He knew how to get heat.
So all is made right in the world from last year's Royal Rumble when Jonathan Coachman was one of the last 8 fucking guys in the ring when he is just chucked out by the Big Show within 30 seconds. Like, literally, he's trying to talk some sense into the Giant. Big Show is mocking him, and then he just, like, gives him a nice friendly shove over the top rope. Enough said. Enough said.
Coach was stupid here. Why didn't he just repeat his same strategy from the year before and cling onto the bottom rope? I thought
fucking
that was
dumbass. He's a dumbass, you know, because we gotta make room for number 8, who's one of your favorites on the roster and one of your favorites, I think, of all time, Bobby
the real deal
Lashley. Wait, was he called the real deal?
Back then, yeah. Remember, hard-hitting, soft-spoken? That's a really crazy way to say you're a physical specimen, but you can't talk on the mic to save your life.
No, you want to talk about a guy who Coachman could have been a great mouthpiece for. Lashley needed one.
They're putting this guy over crazy. Oh my God. When he comes face to face with the Big Show, what a crazy and eerie scoop of foreshadowing that is right there. Because at the end of 2006, you're going to be fucking cringing at that sight.
Stay tuned for December to Dismember when we talk about that. Lashley,
December to Dismember. Stay tuned.
Yep. Fuck that show. Bobby Lashley and the Big Show have a stare down. Michael Cole is calling Lashley a dark horse upon entering the ring. Lashley does do, like, they call it a great counter out of a choke slam, and I'm like, I've seen better. I've seen, like, I mean, if Lashley hit, like, a diamond cutter in midair, like, that would have been an awesome counter, but, you know, it was what it was.
Lashley. We're talking about Lashley in 2006. We're not talking about Lashley today because, obviously, he's great now, but Lashley is a guy who desperately needed a performance center.
Yes, he did.
The tools were there. He had the look. He had the presence. He was very athletic, but very clumsy in the ring, couldn't cut a promo to save his life, and Vince Mason basically wanted to coast off of this guy's good looks and how athletic this man was. But dude, like, was dying, desperately needed a teacher or a mentor or something because this guy, like, he walked like he had 2 left feet. He was very clumsy in the ring. Like, who the fuck trained this guy? Did he even get trained?
The back body drop that he did on Big Show, sort of. Like, Big Show just did a somersault over Bobby Lashley, and they were selling it as like, oh, Lashley just lifted up the 500-pounder. It looked impressive, but I'm like, I mean, he could have gotten more air on the Big Show. Like,
you know what Lashley's finisher should have been?
What?
The F5.
You don't say. You don't say. But then people would have really started comparing him to Brock. And he's going to get those comparisons. He's been getting those comparisons throughout his entire career. And I'm sure Lashley is sick of hearing it at this point because he beat Brock Lesnar clean as a whistle a couple years back for the title.
One of the most disappointing feuds of all time.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Lashley, Big Show goes underneath the bottom rope to start selling a little bit. Lashley looks down at Big Show and says, "Eat him!"
Yeah, exactly what he did.
Eat him!
Number 10 is Sylvan. Oh my God.
Wait, no, we skipped Kane. We skipped Kane.
We did? Oh, shit.
Yeah, number 9.
My bad.
Yeah, Kane goes down.
Tag team champion partner.
Yep, Kane goes in there, starts working with Lashley, and then he takes a Dominator for his troubles. That was Lashley's most impressive move. Because Kane, like, in case you've been living under a rock and are a wrestling fan, Kane is a very large man. Glenn Jacobs, still very large man. But Lashley...
Damn near 7 foot tall, 300 pounds, all meat. Like, the fact, anytime, I don't know why, me and my family, we were so impressed. We were more impressed that people could lift up Kane than the Big Show. Because Big Show is all just mass. But Kane is a very meaty and, like, very vertically astounding. He's a specimen.
Yeah.
You don't guys like him anymore.
We don't. I was such a big fan of Kane growing up. So Lashley hits him with the Dominator. Very impressive maneuver. He's standing tall in the ring. He's giving Rey Mysterio a belly-to-belly suplex, which can't have been fun. Number 10, as you mentioned, go ahead.
Sylvain, I guess I was really excited to talk about Sylvain. I don't know why. He comes in, he lasts 18 seconds, and gets eliminated by Lashley.
Yeah, he tries to form an alliance with Lashley, and he immediately reneges on it. Looks like he freaking tears his patellar tendon on his way out. Just goes to show that you should not be intimidated by a man named Sylvain.
No,
not at all.
Lashley was unsafe. He was just clearly untrained.
Yeah, no, he throws...
The bumps these dudes were taken from him were very scary to watch.
Yes, yeah, very much so. Sylvain is tossed over the top rope so he can make room for Tyler Breeze in the next decade, and Tyler Breeze would do this gimmick a lot better than him. But then, poor Lashley takes a double chokeslam from the tag team champions, and then he is unceremoniously tossed out. This is where the tradition of Bobby Lashley having disappointing showings in the Rumble match starts. And this, you know,
I think I need to give up my dream of him winning one of these things.
I mean, I don't think he's in a position to win it next year, but hey, you never know.
Great. Number
11. Number 11. Hold on. This is a very impressive elimination. So the tag champions inevitably turn on each other because it's the Rumble. It's every man for himself. Big Show and Kane start going at it. They're leaning on the top rope. They're trying to throw each other out with a chokeslam. Hunter then sneaks in, tosses both tag team champions all on his own. That was 800 pounds of mass that he just threw to the floor. And we're back down to Hunter and Rey, you know, after the first third of the Rumble.
That just made them look like goofs.
I thought that elimination was awesome as a kid, though. I was like, Hunter, that was awesome, you know?
Why did it take until 2015 for Big Show and Kane to realize if we stick together for the entire match, nobody can stop us?
Exactly. They're dumbasses, right? So
yeah. It took them 9 years to realize that.
The cerebral assassin takes advantage, tosses both those big asses over the top rope, back down to the first two entrants. We're a third of the way through. On to number 11 is one of the better performances in this match, I think. Carlito. You know, Tomas can call him Mid-Lito all he wants, but he was in this ring for 40 minutes. Fuck you. I'm not gonna talk to you about that.
I'm not gonna bury
the
lead right now, but Carlito is actually going into this Rumble with a little bit of a feud, and I like these. I like mini feuds within the Rumble. Let's just say somebody has announced their return, and Carlito's not about that. So Carlito's goal in this match is to last long enough so he can eliminate this individual himself.
I have a problem with that, though, because once that certain person gets in there, Carlito's a fucking coward. So what happens next? Carlito goes in there, he's working with both guys. He does a brilliant backstabber on Rey Mysterio, and Rey sells that. Yeah, it was Rey's selling was awesome, dude. Like, he put that over as a devastating finisher. Like,
what I really loved about Rey in this Rumble too is that he went very large chunk of this match where you kind of forgot he was there.
Yeah.
He did a great job of hiding in the corner, so like he didn't bring a lot of attention to himself.
Yeah, this was more of an ensemble Rumble performance as opposed to just Hunter and Rey being the starring features. You know, everybody got a chance to shine. I think that's a positive of this Rumble is everybody got their moments here.
I really appreciate this over something like, you know what spot I'm getting really tired of?
What's that?
Oh, big move. He rolled under the rope. Where did he go? Oh my God, it's the end of the Rumble. Oh my God, we forgot about so-and-so. How could you forget about them? They were gone for like 5 minutes.
Your fans are not stupid, guys. Anyway, Carlito is doing his thing. Out comes, uncomfortably enough, my pick as a kid to win this thing, Chris Benoit at number 12. Listen, I have a bone to pick with a bit of the storyline here. How come Rey Mysterio was getting the Eddie Guerrero tribute treatment, but Chris Benoit, his actual best friend, wasn't? Like, you know, it felt a little weird to me. It felt a little
Ray
weird to
was
me
the
that
more marketable and successful Latino star they could latch onto Eddie's name.
fair enough.
That is the only explanation I could think of.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, this isn't the only time I'm going to be bringing this up in this match alone. Benoit's in there and he's delivering Germans to Hunter and he's selling it like crazy. He latches on the label lock on Carlito for some reason, and Carlito starts tapping out, and Hunter for some reason breaks up the crossface, even though why don't you just let Carlito get punished? Like,
there is a really good point I just realized from this. Also, you talk about Ray doing a great job of staying out of harm's way. Triple H was the workhorse in this match. He was the one taking all the bumps, all of the moves. He was the one taking the punishment. It's like CM Punk said in 2014, I'm the number one entrant. I want everybody coming there and hit me with their best shot, because he is going to look better coming out at the end of it, where it's like, holy shit, I just took this onslaught from, Big Show and Kane and Chris Benoit and Rey Mysterio and Lashley, and I came out the victor.
Yeah.
So I think and Ray played both of their roles very well in this match.
Yeah, but I would honestly argue that I was watching Hunter more in this match than Ray. Let's be perfectly clear, because Rey Mysterio, like you said, was definitely very in the background. He was working a lot with Carlito in the corner. Not reminiscent, but it's indicative of the work they're going to do together as the LWO and going forward. They have a connection there. Benoit,
you know what I mean? The fact that you were paying attention to Triple H more shows that he was the workhorse. Again, he was taking moves from almost every single guy, every big name, mind you, not he wasn't taking shit from Sylvain or Coachman or Psychosis, but he was in there taking the big moves from the bigger stars. And that's
from the people that mattered
in this match.
Yeah, so Benoit is working a lot with Hunter in the corner, and he has a lot of close calls. That was another thing. Hunter was really good at really selling the danger of being eliminated from this thing, because there were so many, at least a bajillion different close calls where you saw Hunter just hanging on for dear life. So credit to him for that. Number 13 in a very rare appearance, a very rare attire, Booker T, wearing long johns. He's just coming off of a torn groin. He had just won the United States Championship through his surrogate in Randy Orton in that Best of 7 series. Sharmell is holding up the U.S. title, so props to the couple here for actually bringing the title out with them, unlike Ric Flair. Immediately, Booker goes to Benoit. Benoit throws Booker outside the ring. So, just a recap.
What happened? What the fuck happened?
Combined, your Intercontinental Champion and your United States Champion spent no more than 2 minutes in this Rumble match inside the ring. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It was so strange that Booker and Benoit were locked in this heated feud. Booker gets in the ring and he's just immediately eliminated. But then you brought up a really good point. Booker was still healing from his injury, so it's not like he could do much. And again, the tights were just so strange. The long boys.
Looks so weird.
This show and never wore them again.
Didn't look right.
WCW again for a second.
It didn't look right. Well, I mean, he wasn't in WCW, because then he would have worn that really weird-looking Harlem Heat singlet along with it.
Yeah, and he would have had a flat top, and he would have been wearing the breathe right strip over his nose. Very iconic look for Booker T, if you ask me.
Harlem Heat, one of the best WCW tag teams of all time. Speaking of tag teams, you do have Joey Mercury coming out representing M&M, one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions at 14. The cursed number, by the way, number 14. Something horrible usually happens to the number 14 entrant in a Rumble match.
Something does horrible happen to Mercury. Tune in for Armageddon next year.
Yep. This will not come into play until May of next year, in terms of this retrospective. But number 15. Oh, you want to talk about this, Tomas? You want to take it?
Tatanka. I know that sounds very random, but Tatanka actually signed a new deal with WWE. Crazy enough, in 2006. This was supposed to be your surprise entrant of the night. And, as a kid, I didn't know Tatanka's history. I didn't know
who he was either.
Semi-big star in the 90s. Where's Greg when you need him? I'm sure he would give us a laundry list of Tatanka's accomplishments, including personal memories, shows he's been at, date and times, he's won the championships and all this stuff. But,
much love, Greg.
Credit. Yeah, I will give Tatanka credit. He came out, he got a pop. The crowd was actually very excited to see him, and he was kind of over in this match. The crowd's doing the tomahawk chop, the tomahawk chop wow, say that 5 times fast. The tomahawk chop taunt.
Yes,
And he's
the tomahawk chop taunt, the tomahawk chop taunt, the tomahawk chop taunt, the tomahawk chop taunt. Chomp? Did I just say chomp?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh,
exactly.
yeah. I'm thinking of the San Jose Sharks now, but anyway.
Tatanka's actually getting a little over in this match, and I thought that was kind of cool because you look back on it and it's a very nothing appearance. Like, Tatanka's not going to do too much in the WWE after this, but he was on the current roster. He was a full-time roster member.
Well, you also know a big reason why Tatanka was over in this match was because around this point in my life in the Royal Rumble 2006, I was starting to get into football. I was, really like not just the NFL, but I was really into college football as well. Like just kind of watching that. Reggie Bush was about to be drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the draft. I remembered that the Florida State's mascot was the Seminoles, another Indian-based mascot. So in Florida, of course, Tatanka is going to be freaking over. They're doing the Seminole chop. They're doing that whole shtick. He's paired off with Joey Mercury of all people. That's a weird random ass match, isn't it? Then he's going up.
You don't know the half of it.
Yeah, I don't know the half of it, I guess. So Johnny Nitro then comes out at 16 to go and help out his partner. The ring,
to bury the lead here, Tatanka lasts 14 minutes.
Yeah, so, he lasts a bit. Yeah.
It was an impressive little showing by Tatanka.
Good effort, and like credit to WWE as well, because again, like you, I didn't know who Tatanka was in 2006 at 10 years old, like going on 10 years old. So after watching this match, I was like, I want to research this guy because he kind of made an impression on me. I want to see what his accomplishments were. I wanted to read up and like watch some of his matches. And sure enough,
I too wanted to research Chris Chavez.
Is that his real name? Okay, fair enough. So, do you want to get into the next couple entrants here? This is
next up is Trevor Murdoch. I don't care. Number 18 is Eugene, and at
this point, Eugene
is not over anymore.
No,
that ship sailed a long time ago. Eugene is just hanging around, and believe it or not, he's going to be hanging around for another year, doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he basically he goes in there and he does his like Hulk Hogan thing with Trevor Murdoch. He gives him an airplane spin.
Not over anymore. The crowd does not care. They are over this shtick. It just sucks because I just feel Eugene just lost momentum after his injury, and it's not his fault.
No,
but just magic and the charm it faded away.
Yeah. So, I mean, the crowd doesn't really care about what Eugene and Murdoch are doing until Ray gives them a double code red, which I thought was pretty nice. Number 19 is the clad in face paint Road Warrior Animal. He goes down there. He goes after Eminem again. He's a House of Fire for a little bit. And you notice that the ring is kind of filling up a little. You kind of want somebody to go in there and start clearing house, right?
I want to point out that this was at the point where they were trying to push Animal as a singles guy, and he's not a singles guy.
No.
Say that now.
No.
Outlandish claims out there saying like, "Oh, Animal said he's entering the Royal Rumble because he has never won one." And it's like he's not going to.
He's not going to. Absolutely. Yeah.
He was always a tag team guy, and he was never destined for anything more than being a tag team guy. And that one guy he had the magic with, unfortunately, isn't with us anymore. He's just at this point until around WrestleMania when he's going to turn heel for some reason.
Yeah, I think it was before Mania. Like he got like a biker gimmick, the most forgotten.
That was just that's what I said. Like it was a little around Mania time where he turns heel for some reason. No more face paint, no more shoulder pads. He's a generic biker. He tries to qualify for Money in the Bank. He does qualify for Money in the Bank, but he's a dumbass and he lets his weapon fall out of his tights, so the decision gets reversed. And you jack dick with Animal after that.
Yeah, unfortunate. Rest in peace, Animal. But I remember that biker gimmick. Like it's ironic because it's probably the most forgettable biker gimmick in history. Like we remember the Undertaker, even though a lot of people don't want to. You will remember me, Chuck Palumbo, and we'll get to him. But yeah, Road Warrior Animal. Like there's times where I just forget that he was a freaking biker. Raise your hand in the comments if you remembered that.
Because he did it for like 2 months.
He did.
Again, they were trying to do something with Animal, but he was never a singles guy, and it was never going to work.
Hawk has sadly passed away by this point. His new partner Heidenreich was released, I believe, around this point, so he didn't have any more tag team partners.
The Heidenreich experiment was a total and utter failure.
Good.
And it's crazy because I don't
He's
want to
gone.
jump the lead because they're going to go into a little storyline where Matt Hardy gets a bunch of random partners and Animal becomes one of them. And that's who Animal turns on to turn heel. So it's like, I think Animal was just tired of, okay, stop with the random tag team partners. Let me go solo or just fucking let me go. And they did both. They let him try as a single guy and then they fired him.
Yeah, and then we don't see Road Warrior Animal again until he's inducted into the Hall of Fame with his partner Hawk in 2011. Yeah. So, with that said, speaking of Hall of Famers, it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting to talk about him for a while on this retro since the shittiest pay-per-view of all time. But number 20 is the returning Rob Van Dam. So, this is where I sort of, like, the ring is filling up at this point, and you kind of sense that RVD...
Yeah. RVD really perked this matchup because this was an advertised and very hyped up return for RVD.
Yes, it was.
All throughout all of the month of January, and this was Carlito's target because Carlito comes out on the cabana and says, "Why is everyone excited about RVD?" Well, you know what? Just to piss all you guys off, I'm going to target RVD and I'm going to eliminate him in this Rumble. I enjoyed the enthusiasm for them trying to already stage a feud in here.
Yeah, but then once RVD's music actually does hit, and I remember those vignettes too, where they're playing the beginning part of One of a Kind, the part that I never heard on TV. And I was like, what the heck is this song? And then I realized that it was the beginning of One of a Kind. I remember those vignettes. I liked them.
I miss vignettes like that so much.
Yeah.
The returning star. They got me so fucking hyped. That one later this year when they start running the Jeff Hardy vignettes, I got so hyped for those, and I will never forget. Like, I will never forget those ones where it just says, like, so-and-so returns in 3 weeks. It got me so fucking hyped. Why doesn't WWE do that? I'll tell you why, because the internet ruins everything.
Yep, and because Hunter probably wants more surprises in his booking. He says he's got some surprises in the tank for Money in the Bank tonight. That remains to be seen.
Hell
but
yeah.
RVD goes in there and he starts cleaning house. You see Eugene in the back corner applauding Rob Van Dam as he goes in there, which I thought was pretty funny. Carlito is hiding on the outside. He's trying to hide behind the ring post. Yeah, great way to obscure RVD's vision there. RVD tosses Animal over the top rope. RVD has a quick stare down with Benoit. Both very over baby faces at this point in the retro.
We never got that match, did we?
We did. SummerSlam 02.
Benoit?
SummerSlam 02.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really good one. Hidden Gem. Yeah, we talked about that way back.
I was saying, what a pairing, RVD and Benoit.
Yeah. Wow. No. Underrated Hidden Gem from that pay-per-view was their IC title bout. Van Dam gets in there, he's doing his business. Carlito eventually gets back and he's like, hunting RVD down, finally getting the story back on track. Number 21, Orlando Jordan.
Orlando Jordan. He's JBL-less. He is the United States title-less. He's just there.
He is portrayed as like the straightest gay man on the roster. And I'm like, You can't do that. You can't do that, Vince. Like, there's...
if he would have returned in 2017 and they let him just like really, what's the word I'm looking for? Just like
be
really
himself,
hone in, be himself, and like be gay. And imagine if they gave him like a Prince gimmick and
the Velveteen Dream.
Oh yeah, they kind of already did that, and
but anyway,
anywho, Jordan does nothing, so we can move on from that.
Yeah, so the crowd starts chanting for RVD at this point. They're very excited to see Van Dam returning. Carlito and him are mixing it up a little bit. Hunter and Ray are still in the match, by the way. Rey Mysterio, who, by the way, dedicated this match to his very good friend, Eddie Guerrero, who just passed away. Then out comes Eddie's shoot nephew, Chavo, at 22. Where was the Eddie tribute for him?
So
this
I want to talk about
pisses me off so much, man.
I 100% believe this was long-term storytelling because we know what happens in the summer. And again, other than Ray, when Chavo made his entrance when Eddie died, he was more over than he had ever been. He changed his name back to Chavo. He dyed his hair back. Every single time Chavo made an entrance, we got the Eddie chance. And the fact that Ray is getting this treatment and Chavo comes out here and he's eliminated in 1 minute by Triple H, you can kind of see the writing on the wall because we know what this is going to lead to.
So Chavo, he gets in there, huge Eddie chance for Chavo. I mean, he's a huge baby face, and like he could be a pretty nice dark horse, feel good story winner in this thing.
Sorry, Chavo's not as marketable as Ray.
Chavo and Carlito mix it up a little bit. Chavo hits three amigos on the Caribbean sensation. He then, like a dumbass, goes up to the top rope in the Royal Rumble to hit the frog splash. Hunter takes advantage and shoves Chavo to the floor unceremoniously. It was, and again, just a recap. This isn't the only time that Chavo is made out to be such a huge babyface. Can I talk about the night after WrestleMania 22? Do you mind if I just jump the gun real quick?
Yeah, but I feel like you know what's going to happen. You know what this is leading to. So
I know,
it's justified.
I know, but we're not gonna talk about this specific segment. But I just want to give another example here.
Okay.
Chavo, the night after WrestleMania 22, felt very inspired by what Rey Mysterio did for Eddie. That he says that he is going to win the Intercontinental Championship from Shelton Benjamin the night after WrestleMania, just like Rey Mysterio did. They're in Chicago. They're riding this big high. Chavo is going to go in there. He's going to do it for his uncle or his brother. Literally died in his arms. Chavo's going to do it for him. And then Shelton beats him. What the fuck? What the actual fuck, Vince? Come on. Why do you got to do Chavo dirty like that?
I know what it was leading to. I knew what it was leading to.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have known what it was leading to as a kid. I remember being so pissed off when I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to do Chavo like that?
I excuse it.
I get it. I get that part. But again, if you think about it that way, Chavo turning on Ray because he's using Eddie's legacy, like, Chavo failed. Chavo failed. It's frustrating. Frustrating booking. But up next, number 23. Oh, man, your favorite. The things are about to be broken, aren't they?
I wish they were broken at this point. It's Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy's not doing a whole lot right now. Like, the Edge feud is over. He's over on SmackDown. Yeah, it's fair to say he's kind of floundering at this point. He's just itching and waiting for, like, come on, Jeff, like, finish up that TNA deal so you can come back here.
Vince is punishing him for not selling for the Undertaker at Survivor Series still. We'll get to it. Punishment. We'll get to another part of that punishment, but he hits a side effect on somebody I don't even remember. Out comes Super Crazy at number 24. His partner had already been eliminated.
Too many tag teams and too many factions in this match is another issue I have.
Really?
I feel like they kind of, just like, they're just wasted spots.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, so take Eminem out of this match and you probably would have had a lot more unpredictability is what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Because even though Eminem is, like, they're over enough, and they certainly warranted a spot in this, like, I don't know. Here, I'll let you take this one away. Number 25.
Is Shawn Michaels, and it is crazy that he got such a good number considering Vince hates him.
Yeah.
Again, it's Vince. Vince can do whatever he wants. You think he would put him at a worse number, but...
Put him at number 2 with Hunter!
You know what, Sean? I hate you, but not that much. We're going to give you a really good number.
Not that much. I don't actually hate you, Sean. Yeah, I'm not going to screw you yet.
Yeah, and just considering what the claim was made by Shelton Benjamin, you would think these guys would be put a little closer together, but this is like a final third segment of the match, and Shawn Michaels is going crazy here. Like,
yeah, eliminates Murdoch. Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, that's his only elimination, and the ring is so piled up with people that you would have.
He gets rid of Nitro too.
Yeah, but that's not till later. That's not till like the very end of the match after number 30. But Shawn, I mean, he's going in there and he's on fire. Chris Masters comes out at number 26. Vince McMahon, I'm sure, is very happy seeing this young man's physique.
Considered one of the favorites in this match, which I thought was crazy.
On what planet? On what planet?
Like, this planet? That's not a planet I ever want to visit.
Even I saw right through that as a kid. I was like, there's no way they're gonna make Masters win this. Like, absolutely no shot, because he's still in a bit of a storyline with Carlito. They still got to kind of play off of the New Year's Revolution angle that they had at the end of the Chamber match. So
Carlito, more like Fartlito.
You're so stupid. Fartlito? Would you be intimidated by a man named Carlito?
Would you be intimidated if it was his way?
Yes, yeah, Carlito's way. Yeah, Al Pacino. He should have been an Al Pacino gimmick, but Oh boy. Number 27 is the world's largest horny love machine, Viscera. He goes out there. Lillian Garcia is not shown on camera because that angle is over. Lillian Garcia is not shown in tears that the man that she was dating last summer is coming out to the Rumble. Why are you reacting like that? What's up?
Because Viscera proceeds to go into the ring and he creates a very memorable moment for all the wrong reasons. I mean,
Yeah.
all things considered, he did this in all of his matches, but this is the clip that's kind of gone viral at this point. So he starts wrestling and he takes down Matt Hardy.
Yep.
And he runs to the ropes and he gives him a big old splash, except for he's kind of mounting him at this point, and he swivels his way around on top of Matt.
He butt fucks him. The Visagra.
And Michael Cole has the most appropriate response ever and says, "What the hell?"
What the heck? Yeah. This was what I was referring to. Matt Hardy's continued punishment. He's got to take the Visagra from the horny bastard. Remember last year at the Rumble when Viscera came out to like a vampire theme song and he looked like a big 500-pound vampire? Now he's out here wrestling in pajamas.
Can I talk about this now? Because we're not going to talk about this for another couple of years.
Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead.
Viscera would modify this move. Thank God.
Yeah.
He would hit the splash, swivel himself around, which was pretty impressive for a man his size, and then he would do forearm strikes to the face, and I was like, oh, thank God, that makes a million times more sense.
Yeah, it does.
Nelson Frazier, he's a veteran of the business. Like,
he knows.
What a shitty thing to do to this man.
Give him a pajamas love machine gimmick. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the world's largest pajamas? What was Vince's fucking fetish with the world's largest this and the world's largest that? Like, what is your fucking fetish, man?
I have no idea. Is it
legal to euthanize humans yet?
Hardy goes for a twist of fate in revenge because he feels very violated, as he should go after the guy who violated him. But then Viscera picks Matt Hardy up while he's in mid-twist of fate mode, just chucks Matt Hardy very clumsily to the floor. Yeah, cool. Now Matt Hardy can go to the back and have some grapes and catering. Yeah, might as well.
And Matt's probably just on the floor going, oh, Jeff, hurry up and get back here.
Yep. Well, we'll get to Jeff. We'll get to Jeff soon. Don't worry. Number 28, Shelton Benjamin. Here he comes with Mama Benjamin. Mama Benjamin. Shit. Yeah, Mama Benjamin is out there, and she's like, okay, son. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you really wanted to make a threat to Shawn Michaels? You should have put Mama in the Royal Rumble.
Right.
She has a fucking needle. She has a brick. She has an oxygen tank.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Mama came packed. She was strapped with heat.
Mama knows best. She absolutely does. But, yeah, Shelton goes down there all on his own.
Like a 12-gauge shotgun. Like, holy shit.
Give her a Glock. Crazy. Yeah, she should have talked to Arn Anderson backstage, huh? Shelton, Benoit throws out Eugene at this point. Rumble's kind of died down a little bit. There's a lot of bodies in there. Hunter and Ray are still in the match. They're still in there. Haven't been tossed out yet. Number 29, here's a surprise entrant that we glossed over, Tomas, is Goldust. Goldust comes down there. I was actually pretty hyped to see him as a kid. I'm like, what happened to you? Where have you been? Where have you been on the like?
Goldust would proceed to do this thing where he would just make random returns. I mean, he was at Taboo Tuesday, but we don't talk about that because Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, was in a very, very, very bad time in his life. I think after Taboo Tuesday. No. After this, after Goldust has his run here is when he goes to TNA, and that's where he goes to his absolute worst. Like,
yeah,
we don't talk about it. Like, as much as we like to joke about Black Rain, that was not a good time for Dustin.
Would you be intimidated by a man named Black Rain?
Or about Relic?
Relic Get it? It's killer backwards. Yep, that's why you named him Relic. Goldust goes in there, atomic drop, clothesline. It's like your typical Rhodes offense there. He does the thing where
Dustin is very over in his return too.
Crowd was very happy to see him. Number 30, as we alluded to earlier, nothing you can say. It's Randy Orton. He runs down to the ring and Lady Luck is shining down on him because he makes me very sad as a 10-year-old when he tosses Chris Benoit pretty unceremoniously out of the ring. Benoit doesn't even make it to the top 6 like he did the previous 2 Rumbles. Like, Benoit was just another body in there this time. Like, excuse me when I say this, but he was just another dude. He was another dude in there. He lasted a good minute, but yeah, name one memorable thing Benoit did in this match.
Nope. It's the beginning of the end for this man, in more ways than one.
He eliminated people. The lights were on upstairs, but nobody was home. But you could see the machine was still working. But
yeah, like I said, get used to Benoit with that United States Championship because he's not going to do anything beyond that for the rest of his career.
Yeah. Randy hits a very impressive RKO on Viscera. Then Carlito and Masters pick Viscera up and throw him over the top rope pretty clumsily. Viscera lands on his tailbone area. Carlito then pulls a fast one again and eliminates Chris Masters just like that. He does the same exact thing he did at New Year's Revolution where he shrugs, Masters is pissed. Like, it
kind of makes you wonder why these two went into WrestleMania as a tag team.
It doesn't make any sense. What's stopping Chris Masters from just beating the crap out of this little pipsqueak?
Because Masters is dumb, in case you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it's Chris Masters. It's a lot of muscle, but no brain.
And what is Masters doing nowadays? He's riding in the back of a car. He passes by a WWE production truck, and he says, "Wait, take me with you."
Goldust then hits Shattered Dreams on Carlito, which I'm sure made you very happy. RVD then turns the clock back to No Way Out 2002 by eliminating Goldust out of the Rumble there. That's a flex, isn't it? Van Dam and Goldust.
They were mad that Goldust got eliminated.
Yep, yeah, even though it was RVD that did it. RVD was very over in Miami, but the crowd wanted more Goldust, and I kind of did too. Orlando Jordan is eliminated by Randy Orton. How the fuck did Orlando Jordan last that long? Even though he was doing
16 minutes in there.
Even though he was doing nothing of note. Like, he was, again, another body on the roster. Like,
also, can I talk about this now? Benjamin made it his sole mission to impress Vince McMahon and eliminate Shawn Michaels from the Rumble. Benjamin and Michaels barely interact in this match. The minute he should have went straight for Michaels. Like, he should have been on that dude like white on rice. But he wasn't. He started working on RVD. So I'm like, Benjamin, are you not that committed? Like maybe Vince should have said to him, like, Shelton, you eliminate Michaels for me, and I'm going to give you like $100,000 bonus. I'm going to make sure your mama never has to work again in a day of her life. I will guarantee you a world title shot. Like, give Benjamin an incentive. Again, that's why they should have put a bounty on Shawn Michaels' head.
Yeah, this match had a lot of missed opportunities, didn't it? Like Shelton not going for Michaels earlier, Carlito running away from Van Dam, and probably the most egregious one of all that I didn't even realize until I rewatched this pay-per-view for the purposes of this review. You had Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit all in the same ring at the same time, and you don't even harken back to WrestleMania 20. You don't even have them face off. Probably one of my favorite... Yeah. Didn't like it.
And considering what they do in 07 and in 08, how they interconnected those Rumbles, it's just like, what? Like, this was planned. Like,
you had it.
Done something.
Just you had it.
Second, they all could have just, like, even if they didn't even interact, they could have just, like, everyone could have been down and they all could have stood there. They all could have looked at each other and, the crowd would have popped. The crowd would have popped huge for that.
Yeah, Benoit was wrestling Triple H a lot in this thing, so there's like no excuse to not have that face-off at some point. So yeah, Michaels is then double teamed by Eminem. They go for the snapshot. Shawn Michaels slips out of it. Mercury is accidentally eliminated by his partner. Shawn then clotheslines Nitro out. He skins the cat, and he's on fire. Then Shelton comes in and, to your point, hits the Dragon Whip kick on him, which is always super impressive. Shawn and Shelton always had really good chemistry together. Then you have the tradition start, Tomas, of Shelton Benjamin being eliminated from the Royal Rumble by the Heartbreak Kid. So he's tossed over the top. He lands on the apron. Michaels hits a brilliant-looking super kick, and Shelton is sent into freaking orbit. Like, he did not need to, like, sell this super kick as hard as he did. But
that could have been a decent TV feud, and there was no reason why Shelton Benjamin couldn't have been Vince's hired hand for this feud.
Right.
But Vince had other plans.
He did.
Like the return of his son, Shane McMahon, which I will admit, this was a pretty cool spot. So
yeah.
After Michaels eliminates Benjamin, out of nowhere comes Shane McMahon, and he is in the ring, and he's doing his little footwork, and he's juking and jiving. And I will admit, I was like, holy shit, when's the last time we've seen Shane? And
Yeah.
then he Shawn Michaels, and I was like, holy shit, it is on.
I think since, to my knowledge, well, first of all, Vince McMahon's music hit, and he, like, strolls down to the ring,
distraction,
not happy at all. He's just staring Shawn down, and Shawn's like, what are you doing here? What a dumb question, Shawn. He's the owner of the company. Of course he's going to be one of the biggest shows of the year. But then to your point, also, Shane McMahon, go ahead.
Vince left his casting couch to come and deal with this. Is just wild.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a serious diversion away from his actual character. But then Shane, to your point, Shane McMahon gets in the ring. He chucks Shawn over the top rope. It's the first time we have seen him, I believe, since his feud with Kane in 2003, since the ambulance match.
It's been 3 years.
Yeah, going on 3 years. Yeah, it's been a long
Shane
time.
Back was pretty crazy, and this was pretty funny afterwards. So after Michaels realizes he's been eliminated and Shane leaves the ring to meet up with his dad, Michaels starts chasing Shane. He looks at Vince, and Vince throws his own son under the bus and said, "I didn't do anything. Shane did. Go get him."
Yeah.
What the fuck, Vince?
So Shane is going to be an integral part of this now Shawn versus Vince feud going into WrestleMania. It would actually be one of the bigger matches on the road to WrestleMania because Shawn and Shane would have a street fight on the rebirth of Saturday night's main event, which we can talk about briefly. Yeah, go ahead.
It's awesome. Oh my God.
Great match. Great match. Yeah, one of Shane's better ones, I think. Well, he was in the ring with Shawn.
Save talking about that until WrestleMania 22 because back in the good old days of the 3-disc set WrestleMania DVD sets, they actually included the entire episode of Saturday Night's Main Event on there.
Which is an awesome extra.
All of the time. It was a 2-hour special. Michaels and Shane is like one of the best matches from that era. And oh my God, like, again, Shane could still go at that point, and they had an excellent match.
He could. It ended with a rebirth of the Montreal Screwjob with Shane putting Shawn in the sharpshooter, and then Vince asking the referee to ring the bell. So
yes, I would love to revisit that episode when we go to WrestleMania 22 because it's a very fond memory I have of like
me too.
Mania 22 and that episode of Saturday Night's Main Event were like my go-to because I didn't own that was the first wrestling DVD I ever owned.
Really?
So I would always go back to those all the time. So that match is kind of embedded in my head forever. But stay tuned. The continuation of that Michaels and McMahon storyline is going to get very heated, and it's the last good Vince feud that he ever has.
Well, up until WrestleMania, because after that, it just gets fucking weird. And you want to talk about offensive stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But
stay tuned for Backlash.
Feud, it's the last good feud Vince has. Because, you know, there's Vince and Austin, which is great. There's Vince and Hogan, that is great. There's Vince and Michaels, and it's great. But then Vince and Brett is not good. And I think that was the last, like, you know, actual on-air feud. Unless you want to count the one with Kevin Owens, but that never led into a match.
No.
That just led into Owens feuding with Shane.
Yeah. No, you're flat on the button right there. Yeah. Owens and Shane was a pretty underrated feud from that era of WWE, at least in my opinion. So you're left with a final five of Hunter and Ray, your first two combatants, Carlito, RVD, and Randy Orton. Not as good as the final four from 2005, but you know.
All jokes aside, props to WWE for pushing Carlito into that spot. RVD is the returning babyface that the crowd is crazy over, and then you have the workhorses Triple H and Ray who are still in there. So, all things considered, you could have a worse final four.
Yeah, no, you could have had a worse final five if that, because RVD actually does eliminate Carlito pretty quickly. He does hit that very impressive like spin kick that he does. Carlito sent over the top rope.
Orton too.
Yeah, Carlito lasted, I think, like 40 minutes or something like that in this.
Yeah,
like
which is very impressive.
Yeah, proving that he's not mid, Tomas. So the Final Four he's not mid, fuck off. So they do a Final Four stare down. Ray and RVD form an alliance because RVD was a tag team champion at the time he got injured at this point last year. So they kind of resumed that. They do hit the 420 on Randy Orton, which I'm sure popped you. I'm sure it popped you.
Love the origin story of that move.
Yeah.
Well, obviously it was called what it was called, but we knew it was never going to get past Vince. So when Vince asked, what's that move called? And I said, it's called the 420. And he goes, huh? And RVD says, yeah, 420, 4 feet, 20 toes. And I'm like, RVD's not as dumb as he looks.
Yeah.
That was a big cover.
Yeah, it's proof that he is more than just a promo that says whatever and cool. But with that said, RVD
He is
gets
smarter than the average bear.
It's ironic you say that he's smart, because then he goes up to hit a 5-star frog splash in the middle of the Royal, like right at the end of the Royal Rumble. Like, did he learn nothing from what Chavo just did? Like, he goes up there, goes for his finisher. Ray is whipped into the corner where RVD is standing, and RVD is knocked off the top rope. This final three right here, Hunter, Ray, and Orton, this is what I remember most about this 06 Rumble. This was the best part right here. So much drama, so heightened. You could sense that Ray was the underdog fighting from underneath. Hunter and Ray were in the match for an hour. Hunter gets, like, he has Ray up in spinebuster position. Ray then, they're on the ropes. Ray then pulls Hunter over the top. Hunter lasted over an hour, and he's gone. The number one entrant, and a lot of people's favorite to win it.
Very, very, very impressive showing by Triple H. Proof that Triple H does put people over. I think Triple H 100% understood that this was not his Rumble to win. And maybe in an alternate universe, Triple H would have won this Rumble because Cena and Triple H was always the plan. But considering, what they were going through, I thought it was great that Triple H let Ray have this win. But that doesn't mean Triple H would just walk away from this. He gets back in the ring. He throws Ray through the middle ropes. He throws him into the steel steps. And it's great because Michael Cole has this great call on commentary. He says, how ironic that Triple H is helping his old Evolution buddy, Randy Orton, win this Royal Rumble. And King goes, I'm pretty sure that's not Triple H's intention. He's just really mad that Ray eliminated him.
Well, Michael Cole is actually the smart one here, because he's actually exploring the continuity of everything. So the final two sequence is very brief, because Rey Mysterio is just spending most of it selling the beatdown that he just took from Hunter. Randy is he's got the biggest shit-eating grin on his face, and he is just parading around with Ray on his shoulders, just like Big Show did in 2000 with The Rock. But no, this is a lot cleaner than the 2000 ending. Rey Mysterio grabs onto the top rope. He gets in position for a Frankensteiner. Randy Orton is thrown over the top rope, and Rey Mysterio wins the Royal Rumble match from number 2, 62 minutes and 12 seconds. It's an absolutely legendary performance. It's iconic, and it'll live in Rumble lore forever.
That this would be the longest run time for someone in the Royal Rumble until 2023, when Gunta would break that record, is absolutely astonishing. Props to Bryan Danielson for originally breaking the record, but I don't really want to count the greatest Royal Rumble. In traditional Rumble, Gunta has the record. It is a legendary record that I'm surprised Ray held on to for so long. 3 points I want to bring up from this ending. Number 1, as a kid, I'm surprised that Ray won.
Me too.
Number 2, I love the fake out spots. I love when it looks like someone's going to win, and then out of nowhere at the very last second, it gets reversed and they get eliminated. So that really adds to the surprise. I'm like, holy shit, Ray actually pulled this off. And number 3, I think it was really good character work by Randy Orton, because it still showed that he is a young, inexperienced rookie to a degree, that he thought he was just going to win this match because Triple H let him.
Yeah.
He really let his guard down to let Ray eliminate him.
Let's just say that the Randy Orton of 2024 would not have let this happen. So let's just say that much.
And Ray up, RKO'd his ass 3 times, and then threw him out.
I will never forget how my house reacted when this finish happened, because I was very surprised myself. I was very happy for Rey Mysterio, but this Rumble will always hold a special place in my heart, because my little brother doesn't really watch wrestling a lot, but when he did, he always wanted to watch Rey Mysterio. And, my parents, when the ending happened, looked at Jake and they were like, Ray won! He did it! And he was like 8 years old at the time. He was so excited. I just sat there in disbelief. I couldn't believe it. And also, to your point, it honestly...
your dad is still waiting for China to show up in the Royal Rumble, and he needs to relax.
Easy.
He needs to relax.
It came down... So... Behind the scenes and doing some research, it actually did come down to Hunter versus Ray on who would win this match. And the original choice was Hunter, believe it or not. A lot of people, they thought, him and Cena was the plan. Hunter winning the Rumble was probably the easiest way to get to that match. But let me read you this quote, actually. It comes from Cord Bauer, who actually was digging deep into this. It came down to Hunter or Ray winning, and obviously most people were pushing for Hunter. Very few people were pushing for Ray. I mean, like, to go off the cuff here, I'm sure it was because Vince saw Ray as a cruiserweight and didn't want him in the main event. But the right guy was able to push that through and get it into the end zone. And that guy was Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson, Bruce Pritchard, and myself, a.k.a. Cord Bauer, obviously wanted Ray to win. Pat had the most influence because he's Pat Patterson, and really was the most influential in getting that decision and getting Ray over. But that was something that came down to the last 10 days or so before the event. So, keeping in mind, if it was not for the originator of the Rumble match and the brainchild and the brains behind it, Pat Patterson, we wouldn't have had this special moment right here. So, yeah.
So, and hey, maybe it proves that maybe Bruce Pritchard isn't an entirely complete fucking idiot.
Yeah. I mean, he's still on creative with Triple H, so yeah.
What an iconic moment for Rey Mysterio. What an iconic moment for Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble as a whole, some missed opportunities, some missed potential. There are people to this day that are still upset that Rey won this Rumble because, it was a petty win. It was a pity win. They just did it because Eddie died. No. But it's like, wasn't this one of the great? Like, you don't think Rey deserved this? Like, how could you not? He's probably the number 2, if not the number 3 babyface in the company.
Yeah.
He's a top merch seller. He connects with the children. Adults like him too. He's one of the best workers on the roster. He's organically over with the crowd. You don't think that deserves some sort of accolade?
Yeah. Well, and keeping in mind, Rey Mysterio also connects with a huge and integral part of WWE's audience and WWE's culture, the Latino audience. Yes. So the Latino audience needed a hero. Eddie Guerrero no longer with us, unfortunately, so they needed somebody to latch onto. And that person would be Rey Mysterio, and to an extent, it still is Rey Mysterio, still to this very day. So,
we've talked about this and we've joked about this, but in all seriousness, Ultimo Dragon didn't fit the bill. Cicada didn't fit the bill. Lince Dorado didn't fit the bill. Grand Metalik didn't fit the bill. Kalisto didn't fit the bill. I'm sorry to say it, Dragon Lee does not fit the bill. There is one and only Rey Mysterio, and WWE better appreciate him while they have him because there's never going to be another luchador like him.
No. Greatest luchador who ever lived, in my opinion. Overall, this Rumble match...
In the great words of Big Joseph, the Gamote.
The greatest mask of all time. Thank you, 2019 WWE, and your shitty writing. But this was a good Rumble match. I wouldn't say it's a great Rumble match. The final 3 onwards was excellent drama. The first third I thought was booked pretty well as a This Is Your Life segment for Hunter. But there were a lot of dead spots in this match where there were just too many guys in the ring, not a lot happening, not a lot of eliminations. And I know a lot of people like that. I liked that a lot growing up, but I'm all about storytelling. And honestly, like, aside from Hunter and Ray, nobody else was really selling the danger of getting eliminated in a Rumble match. No. So I thought it was a good Rumble, not a great Rumble, though. Iconic performance from Ray.
The only other story that got pushed was the Shawn Michaels Vince McMahon feud.
Yep. And that set up their WrestleMania match. So there's that, at least.
Wasn't that a great ending to the Rumble? And shouldn't that have been a great ending to the pay-per-view?
Yeah, no, so overall, I'm going to give Royal Rumble 2006 a... no, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, it's not the end of the show yet.
If it would have ended with this, I would have given this a 3 or a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 being nice.
Oh, okay. Well, we get to a backstage segment where Ray is celebrating with Benoit, Chavo, and WWE producer Dean Malenko at the time. A real name being Dean Simon, ironically enough. And Tomas is still floored by that fact. Ray is celebrating with them. It's a very tender, emotional scene. Yeah, I know, right? And then in comes the WWE champion Edge with Lita, and he basically warns Ray, don't pull a Chris Benoit and hop over to Raw, because you're going to lose if you do that. Edge is assuming...
a tasteful way to get heat? Edge. He did this brilliantly. He didn't say like, oh, well, you think Eddie helped you. He didn't mention Eddie at all, actually. He was he was just like...
And I don't think Edge... Ray. And I don't think Edge being one of Eddie's closest friends and confidants, especially like around 2002 when they had that iconic feud, like, I don't think he would have wanted to have brought up Eddie in that promo.
No.
And credit to Edge.
yeah, like Edge came in. He's like, how else can I get heat? Oh, okay. I'm going to take a huge shit in your punch bowl that is your Royal Rumble victory and be like, you won, but I'm the champion, so fuck you. So
Very,
Edge was so great at getting
very
the heat.
smug. Very
Yeah.
smug. So that leads us into our WWE Championship bout. Edge is defending against John Cena, who is invoking his rematch clause when he lost the belt at New Year's Revolution. So, oh man, so much has happened since Edge cashed in that briefcase. Wow.
Wild few weeks it was. I will say, I didn't believe this. I thought this was just Edge being a piece of shit, but no, it was true. Since Edge won the WWE title, ratings went up for Monday Night Raw because there was a new champion and they wanted to see what this new champion would be like. Edge would boast about that, saying, I'm the most must-watch WWE champion of all time ever since I won the title. Ratings have been up, and, that should have been a sign for WWE to be like, this was, the experiment with Edge. Like, we put the title on him. He's actually moving numbers. Maybe this guy actually is a main eventer. So good for Edge. One of those rating spikes was one of Vince's, just one of his ploys. And this is how the story goes.
Oh, boy.
So John Cena wanted his rematch with Edge the very next night on Raw. Vince came out and said, well, no, thanks to some oral persuasion, you will not be getting your WWE
God damn you
until the Royal Rumble. Vince's words, not mine. He said oral persuasion. Then they had a shitty segment backstage where Cena was like, oh, you got some oral persuasion on your chin or some stupid shit like that. So thanks to that little plot device, Cena will not be getting his match with Edge until the Royal Rumble. I think that night on Raw, Edge is celebrating with the WWE Championship, and he said, we're going to have a live sex celebration.
Yes.
Let's peel back the curtain a little. Edge and Lita did not want to do this. They were so uncomfortable with it because of the real life implications and what they just dealt with backstage with their relationship. Also, they don't want to have sex on national television.
No.
Vince told Cena, if you interfere with this celebration, you will be stripped of your WWE Championship match, so stay away from it. 12-year-old me watching this segment.
Oh, no.
You know when remotes used to have the channel back button that would take you back to the last channel that you were on?
Yeah.
My thumb was glued to that button because I knew somebody was going to try and walk in. I'm not gonna go over the segment blow by blow, but you know what?
No.
If the ratings got a spike, props to Vince, I guess.
Yeah.
He knew what would draw in viewers, and it kind of worked.
Kind of did, yeah. It's as uncomfortable as a live sex celebration on Monday Night Raw would be. I can't sit here and defend it, but Vince took the rated R superstar nickname a little too literally. Literal.
Oh, and in case you're wondering, there was some foreplay in the ring. There was a bet in the ring. Ric Flair interrupted it, which was fucking hilarious because Ric Flair basically goes, I want to get involved with this. And he's sprinting down the ramp and he's taking off his clothes. I'm like, holy shit.
Where was Nicholas Dickhead to stop him?
Yeah. So Edge beats up Flair, and then Cena makes the save. He gives the attitude adjustment to Lita. So the great, bait and switch gimmick. The next week after that, Flair and Edge have a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Championship. And
yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, that's a hidden gem. One of Flair's better matches that he had in this last run with the WWE. Again, very dangerous to put a middle-aged man like Ric Flair in a ladder match. WWE would not learn this lesson by the time WrestleMania came around. But, still a damn good match. I mean, at least we got that gem out of the live sex celebration. Yeah. But,
not John Cena coming out to a whole ass WrestleMania entrance for the Royal Rumble. So I love the setup because the catwalk kind of ascends from the ceiling.
It's a spaceship. It's a spaceship.
I'm like, does Vince think we're fucking dumb?
It is a spaceship.
Why do they do that?
I'm convinced.
See any sort of not wrestling related structure, they always do that.
It's a spaceship like structure.
What is that thing? What is?
Yeah.
Cole, have you ever heard of a bicycle? What is that thing? What is that? I don't know what that is. I'm scared.
You see, you see what the Undertaker's riding right there? Looks like a bicycle-like contraption there. What the fuck is he riding?
I hated that, but John Cena. Okay, in all seriousness, this entrance was cool. I liked it. It was
very cool.
Comes out on the catwalk and he stomps on the edge platforms of the catwalk and it shoots out confetti. And I'm just like, this
shoots out t-shirts. She's out t-shirts.
Entrance.
Yeah, WrestleMania ass.
By the specialists.
Okay, so here's my issue with this in hindsight. So the spaceship descends above the entrance ramp, and this is a catwalk that is used like around this time. I believe it was used in like big concerts for country superstars. Last I had like researched it. John Cena comes out, he's on top of this catwalk, and he's stepping on the confetti cannons, and I'm like, why not just hand him the title right there? Like, because there's no fucking way that with that entrance, John Cena loses this match. Absolutely no shot. I had the same problem with the I Quit match at Judgment Day. Like, he came out with that truck and the DJ that was spinning the time is now, like, records and what have you. No fucking shot JBL was beating him. So, same issue here. Edge comes out yeah, go ahead.
I found this hilarious. I just found it. Like, he had a whole WrestleMania entrance for this.
He did. And then Edge just walks out like a normal schmo, like he's being led to the guillotine. You know, it's...
So, I'm going to defend this match.
Okay.
Thought it was good. As a kid,
I loved
this match.
It was aight.
I mean, okay, I shouldn't say I loved it. I really liked it, and let's take all of this backstage stuff out of the way. Let's take out that they're tired of Cena, and they want Edge, and, you know, the bearing and blah, 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 blah. As a kid, as 12-year-old me, watching this match and watching John Cena, I'm just going to bury a lead right now, win back the WWE Championship after he just lost it was cool for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you didn't have to bury the lead. I just described that entrance, and everybody knows who fucking wins this match. Like, Edge does not get a special entrance at all. At all. It's even the playing field a little bit. You have the Rated R Superstar who's starting to say, I equal ratings in his promos, and he backs it up. The numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why people were annoyed by John Cena at this point. So
the best way to describe this match is this was just a sampling of how well Cena and Edge work together.
Yes, this was their first big one-on-one match on pay-per-view, not counting New Year's Revolution, because that was more of a segment and a segue into this amazing feud. Like, Cena and Edge should be soulmates, like, in terms of wrestling, like, you know, rivalries.
We talked about this before, but John Cena finally found his Joker.
Yep.
John Cena finally found his villain. The bread
yes, he
to his
did.
butter.
Mm-hmm. So, these guys, I mean, it's good wrestling in there. Lita tries to get involved. You know, Edge is trying to get Lita in harm's way, and Joey Styles is lambasting him. This is, I mean, even though it's a good match, I wouldn't say it's a great match or anything. Like, this is, again, like you said, it's like an appetizer leading into the greatness of the summer going into the fall, the matches they would have then for the title. And even after that, these two would have great matches like for years to come. So Edge is charging into the corner, going for a spear. Cena moves. He hits he makes his comeback. Lita tries to get on the apron to distract the referee. John Cena has Lita occupied. Edge runs for a spear. He accidentally knocks his girlfriend off the apron. Cena then hits one attitude adjustment, and then he slaps on the STF. Edge taps out. It's a pretty nice little formality there, 15 minutes or so, and then John Cena regains the title. I mean,
I was hyped for it. Again, I'm being
I was excited too.
I was hyped for it.
I never said that as a kid I didn't pop for this, because I was like, oh yeah, John Cena again, woohoo! But nowadays I'm like, okay, yeah.
Edge. I look at it and I'm like, I understand both sides of the argument. Number one, I do understand that the fans were upset because we finally got a new WWE champion and he was actually over, and they were excited to see what Edge could do with the title. Little did they know this would be one of like 10 world title runs for Edge, so this isn't going to be the end of the Edge experiment. No. I think this was Edge's final test, and he passed with flying colors. Yep. So they knew they could always go back to Edge, and they did. Edge became their go-to guy for a world title. But considering what we get at WrestleMania, this was a small sacrifice to get to that bigger picture.
It was.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. If Edge was champion going into WrestleMania, I don't know what they would have done with him.
No, I don't know either.
Guys, we get that at Backlash, and it's great.
It's a fucking awesome match is what it is. So I'm going to say in hindsight, yeah, I probably shouldn't be as upset as I probably appear. But it's like, again, when you have like, here's the thing. When you have Edge in promos leading up to this Royal Rumble saying that he's not going to be a transitional champion, he guarantees that he's not going to be an Ivan Koloff or a Stan Stasiak or whatever names he was throwing out. And then you have Cena come out on a catwalk. Like, if you just had Cena have a normal-ass entrance, I probably wouldn't have had as much of a problem with this match as I do. But it's how they presented it. They basically told the audience before the bell even rang that Cena was taking this title home with him tonight. So, that's my whole issue. It was too telegraphed. Too telegraphed.
Edge could have had the special entrance, and it could have came off as like, oh, well, the dude with the huge ego was off of his game, and he got what was coming to him. Like, he had this flashy entrance, and he was
bingo.
An asshole, so he got what was coming to him.
Absolutely.
But also, if you are following this retrospective with us and you don't know what happens next, Edge still hangs on to his main event status, and what he goes in to do at WrestleMania is pretty good. Like, Edge isn't getting buried. He's not getting sent down to the undercard. He's not being sent back to OVW. He's going to be a prominent part of the main event scene for years and years and years to come.
Yes.
So it's a small bump in the road, and I understand, but Cena's your WWE champion again. It's like they rub salt in the wound right away. They go up the ramp, and the commentators are just elated. They just keep saying, the champ is here, the champ is here, which, they got to put over their guy.
Yeah.
Edge and Lita come to the backstage area, and immediately Todd Grisham tries to interview Edge. He's like, do you have a death wish? And Edge is just like, oh, get out of my face, you little
dumbass.
You little twerp, little dumbass, and he walks away. So what does Grisham do? He tries to interview Lita, and Lita's yelling at Grisham, and then Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Why wasn't he in the Rumble match?
Exactly. He's the first ever winner, and he just signed a brand new contract with WWE. So
yep. And we would see a lot of him over the next few years. We would see probably more of Hacksaw Jim Duggan, bless his heart, than we probably would have asked for.
I kind of like this because Cena literally went out of his way. He said, I am so confident to win this title that I'm going to ask Hacksaw Jim Duggan to come to the Royal Rumble just so we can go up to Lita and say, I'm on behalf of John Cena, and I only have one thing to say to you. Ho! I didn't get that as a kid. I didn't know that was his catchphrase. I thought
it is his catchphrase.
Cena just hired some schmuck to come yell ho at Lita.
Yeah, well, I knew who Hacksaw Jim Duggan was because I was playing those. Like, you remember, like, back in the day when they had those Legends of Wrestling video games that Acclaim would put out? Yeah. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was the guy that I would pick a bit, and I saw that he came out with a 2x4, and I was like, I need to actually research this guy. Similar to Tatanka. And I was like, oh, he's like the Americana gimmick of the 90s, and he does the ho thing, so I knew who he was.
Is his name Hacksaw, but he carries out a 2x4?
Doesn't make sense, does it?
He carried a hacksaw.
They should have carried a chainsaw, and they would have called him Chainsaw Charlotte. Oh, wait. No, they already did that. No, they already did that. Anyhow.
Yeah, we love Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Oh.
We do. This match was good. I wouldn't call it great, though. I mean, I think 3 stars might be being generous, but I thought it was all right for what it was.
3 1/4.
Okay.
3 1/4.
Yeah, this was, if you want to hear about John Cena and Edge's best match, Unforgiven is where it's at. So stay tuned for that when we review it, like, I don't know when we're going to get to that. 6 months, 8 months from now, or whatever it is. I don't know. I can't do the math right now. But, yeah, they would have much better matches than this. But like you said, I think it's a nice little taste of what they're capable of in the main event. Speaking of the main event.
Why wasn't the Royal Rumble on last for this match? Kurt Angle defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Mark Henry. How did we get here? Well, like we talked about before, Batista was injured after Armageddon, after the return of Mark Henry. So they needed to scramble and get some last-minute plans. According to Kurt Angle on his podcast, he was perfectly content staying on Monday Night Raw because it was a new environment for him. He wanted new opponents. But apparently nobody on the SmackDown side was stepping up and wanting to be world champion. So Vince reached out to Angle and said, do you mind coming back to SmackDown? And Angle was like, well, I really don't want to, but if nobody is stepping up over there, then sure, I'll come win the world championship.
Yes.
They had a battle royal on SmackDown to crown the new world champion.
Really good battle royal.
Guys. So we went from Kurt Angle being a racist, absolutely maniacal heel on Monday Night Raw to being the white meat babyface back on SmackDown. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship. Mark Henry, I think, wins the number 1 contenders match.
Beats Rey Mysterio, I think, on an episode of SmackDown, but
get the world title shot. And the whole kicker here is Daivari has turned on Kurt Angle and
Of
is
course
aligned
he
himself with
does.
Mark Henry.
Of course he does. If Angle's going to be a babyface, he can't have Daivari in his corner. So Daivari then joins forces with the World's Strongest Man. And think about this. Like, you have two 1996 American Olympians going at it. Kurt Angle, obviously, for freestyle wrestling. He did it with a broken freaking neck in Atlanta. Mark Henry also was an Olympian in 1996 for deadlifting, I think. Yes. I mean, I don't know what else he would have done as a sport in the 1996 Olympic Games.
That's how WWE discovered him.
So this should be a dream match, right? Like, that's a built-in story right there. And they don't really capitalize on it, do they? Like, no. 10 years after they were teammates in the Olympic Games, now here they are fighting for the company's most prestigious prize, if you will, the big gold belt.
But also, you got to understand, this was a match very thrown together at the last second because creative was absolutely in disarray at this point.
Yeah, well, because Big Dave got hurt. So I think if Big Dave didn't get injured, like, Kurt probably wouldn't have gone to SmackDown. He probably would have had Mark Henry beat Batista for the title. Who knows?
That match would have been happening here instead.
Yep. Yeah, Mark Henry would have beaten Batista for the belt here. I'm fully convinced of that.
Kurt Angle cuts a very fiery promo before this match, really just capitalizing how much of a babyface he is. He also has a new gimmick now. Instead of the "you suck" chant being directed at Angle, now Angle is directing the "you suck" chant at his opponent. He's
pointing and chanting "you suck" during his entrance at Mark Henry, and Mark Henry is so offended by this. Like, I laughed at that as a kid. Like, say what you want about it, but I was like, that's kind of clever. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I got an 8x10 signed by the man himself up there. This is my favorite iteration of Kurt Angle, the Wrestling Machine. And I would honestly sit here and say that the babyface version of the Wrestling Machine, way better than the heel version. At least I think so.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Because I know what I said. I feel like his matches overall are a lot better as a babyface in the Wrestling Machine gimmick. But yeah, I mean, even though the heel Wrestling Machine was awesome, like, I love the Wrestling Machine character as a whole, but I much prefer him as a babyface. That being said, it's ironic that I say this, but this is the worst match of Kurt Angle's career. I'm fully convinced of that because this was horrible.
Not a main event match.
No.
It goes 9 minutes, and Angle and Henry just don't click.
No. Again, like, if you had built in a story of these guys being former Olympians together, yeah, the crowd would have probably been more invested in it. But again, a missed opportunity they did not capitalize on. The match felt like it had no heat. Like, it felt like Mark Henry was just a monster for Kurt Angle to beat en route to a much better match that we're going to be talking about. But, yeah, Mark Henry goes... Go ahead.
There is one story element to this match that I really do appreciate, and it really puts Henry over. How Henry was able to launch Kurt Angle out of the ankle lock with his one foot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what was this match was based around. Like, can Angle even make Mark Henry tap out? Because this dude is strong. And he can't even keep the ankle lock applied long enough to get Henry to tap out.
Yeah, he tries to lock in the ankle lock on the big tree trunks that Mark Henry calls legs. And Mark Henry constantly is finding ways to get out of it. A very impressive angle slam for 2. And, like, listen, even though I say this wasn't a good match from Kurt Angle, Kurt was still trying. He really was. You know, and, like, it's not to say that Mark Henry wasn't trying here. But... Mark Henry's a great personality, and he's adored by a lot of, like, wrestling personalities everywhere. His matches are not really that fun to watch. I'm just being honest. No. You know, and he wasn't...
I think we appreciate Mark Henry nowadays for his longevity in the company, and B, just he has a lot of... His promos are amazing. Like, the Hall of Pain is the best things that he ever does, and when he is allowed to turn it up, he's amazing. And, you know, he's a decent hoss, but I can't recall one Mark Henry match that's like, oh my God, that was amazing. Those two tore it up with each other. Like,
yeah,
he was a good strong man. And I think he has a lot of knowledge to pass down to the future generations of wrestling.
Absolutely.
He's not a technical prowess.
Yeah. Well, Mark Henry probably did not belong in the main events on this night. Yeah, remember
Yeah.
that? Remember his Rampage announcements every week? Yeah, good times. So Kurt Angle, of course, you know, Mark Henry slips out of the ankle lock the way he did. And here's what this match needs: a ref bump. Daivari goes in there. He mixes it up with Lil Nate. He's distracting Lil Nate. Angle bumps into him, leading to Daivari trying to get involved. Angle blasts Daivari with a chair right to the head. And I'm like, Jesus. Sean Daivari does not get enough credit for how much he sells for people. Like, he's a perfect little pissant manager. That's what I think. So,
he is.
Angle
is a little underrated.
Yeah, but the reason why this match gets 1 star is not just because of the, like, how these guys had a lack of chemistry in the ring. Mark Henry, not a good opponent for Kurt Angle at all. In terms of getting Kurt Angle to do what he does best, even though he does hit an angle slam on Mark Henry in this thing, wasn't the right way to play to Kurt Angle's strengths as a performer. He does hit Mark Henry with 2 of the most vicious chair shots to the head I've ever seen in my life. So I think that right there just warrants a 1 star. Like, it's nasty. Like, Mark Henry, I'm sure he wants to forget that. But what happens next...
And believe it or not, this feud actually continues after WrestleMania, and the chair shots to the head do not let up. He hits another one to Henry that's pretty fucking devastating. Like, these two stiff each other throughout the entire feud. Like, Mark Henry splashes Kurt Angle through a table so hard that it breaks his ribs.
Yeah.
God damn, these two are not gentle with each other.
Yeah, I think that was during the Battle Royal, right? The World's Strongest Slam through the table. What happens
in the lead up to their Judgment Day match? Mark Henry splashes Kurt Angle through a table and breaks his ribs.
Even though that match went to a non-finish, it is better than this thing. So, Kurt Angle, what happens next is he exposes the middle turnbuckle. Not the top turnbuckle, the middle. Drop toe holds Mark Henry. Mark Henry hits the exposed bolt. Angle rolls Mark Henry up for a pinfall win in the schoolboy, and he retains. 9 minutes. I'm giving this a 1.5 stars. Kurt Angle.
That's fair.
Yeah, this was not his best showing. Wasn't Mark Henry's best showing. These guys just didn't have the story, enough story beats to really warrant heat for a main event world title match. Kurt Angle, he tried. Mark Henry tried, but it just didn't work. Did not work.
Now, why did this match go on last? I will say, this right here was pretty cool. Not the very last part, but this beginning part was pretty cool.
I still have a bone to pick with this.
Title. Oh, yeah, I do too. But just this visual part right here was pretty cool. The lights go out. The gong hits. You know that's The Undertaker. All of his business with Randy Orton is finished up. Now he wants the World Heavyweight Championship. The Undertaker emerges on a chariot.
That's fucking awesome.
Pretty cool. That was
fucking awesome.
Cool.
A ghost horse driving the chariot.
Exactly. The Grim Reaper showing up on a chariot to basically tell Angle his intentions. He wants the World Heavyweight title. And this is why the match went on last. Taker lifts his arms up. The shittiest CGI bolt of lightning strikes the ring, and the ring collapses.
Yep. Could you imagine a Royal Rumble match in a collapsed ring?
No, they did a last man standing match in a collapsed ring, and it did not end well. It did not go well at all.
No. So that's when people are so, like, I'm always so confused why people are so perplexed that this match went on last. The ring breaking is the reason why. So let's just clear that up. That's why this match went on last. But I still have a bone to pick, not even because of the ring breaking. The fact that they were marketing this as the big return for The Undertaker. Didn't we just see this guy last month at Hell in a Cell?
Oh, anytime The Undertaker takes a month off, it's a return for him.
I'm floored. This is like, I just saw you. This is not a huge return. You're a full-timer. The one thing that excited me, though, was the face-off between Kurt Angle and The Undertaker. This version of The Undertaker versus the Wrestling Machine, I would love to see that match as a kid, and that was, like, enough for me to look at my folks and say, hey, I want No Way Out. That's going to happen right there. And I have memories that I will get to of watching No Way Out 2006 live on pay-per-view. But another bone I have to pick with this, sorry, my friend, but Undertaker does the belt thing, right? And the fucking commentators are so dumb. Taz is like, do you think that means he wants the title?
No.
Have you not been watching SmackDown over the past 4 years? Like
He's hungry.
Every challenger
out of food.
Every challenger that comes up to the champion and say, "Hey, I want the gold," they do this. Of course.
He's motioning the belt.
Yes. Dumb Taz? Come on.
No, Undertaker's hungry. Catering ran out of food. They ran out of those little peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the cookies and the chips.
Undertaker switched to State Farm because he saw Aaron Rodgers' commercial, even though Aaron Rodgers was Brett Favre's backup at the time.
Yeah, so he saw that Kurt Angle had half of a Subway sandwich in his locker room, and he's trying to tell Angle, "Hey, you're gonna eat that, fam."
Could you imagine this Undertaker being in a Subway commercial promoting $5 footlongs?
I'd rather have him over who they had.
Oh yeah, $5 footlongs. Yeah, the jingle that will never leave my head. But Taker says he wants the belt. Stay tuned for our next retro No Way Out, because oh boy, we're gonna have a fun day with that one. Taz does the expletive "holy shit" chant at the ring breaking. Kurt Angle has to sell the broken ring, and that's perfectly fitting of a Royal Rumble 2006 pay-per-view that kind of crumbled underneath itself.
Yeah. Overall, I'm going to give this Royal Rumble a 5 out of 10. Other than Ray winning the Rumble in that great moment in a decent Cena Edge match, this whole show was so forgettable, so unnecessary. Not a single one of these matches felt like they should be on pay-per-view. And I think this may be the worst Royal Rumble show as a whole that I've ever watched as a kid.
Oh, you were generous. I gave this a 4 out of 10. Like, this was not as... Yeah.
Ray winning really gave it that extra oomph.
Oh, it did. Like, if Rey Mysterio did not win the Rumble and he didn't have the feel-good moment at the end of that Rumble match, like, and the Rumble itself isn't even really all that special, like, this is probably one of the worst pay-per-views I've ever seen. Like, especially for a big 4 pay-per-view, like, unacceptable. So, with that said, Royal Rumble 2006 in the rearview mirror. Up next on the Retro is No Way Out. We got to watch Money in the Bank tonight. I'm picking main event Jey Uso to win the briefcase because he's written all over the poster and the advertising. Tiffany Stratton is winning the women's. It should be a fun time.
You want them to win. Doesn't mean they're going to win.
Tiffany Stratton is going to win.
I actually haven't given it much thought, but if I want to be selfish as a fan, I want Drew McIntyre to win.
Oh, just for the chaos. Just for the chaos.
For the chaos. I love the chaos. You know me. I love the chaos.
I'm fine with a short, wasted Money in the Bank run if it means a better story. So, with that in mind, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up. We will be getting to Forbidden Door as soon as we can. I have finished the show. Tomas still needs to finish the show. I'm going to call him out. But, yeah. It's a lot of wrestling still to come. Tomas, happy birthday, my friend. I hope this was as fun for you as it was for the viewers, I'm sure, who've made it this far. But guys, thank you again.
Absolutely. And a wrestling pay-per-view on my birthday. What else could I ask for?
Yeah, attaboy. So guys, thank you again for watching. Commence that back talk.